living monument to a legend, a statesman, a soldier, frontiersman, and a true American hero.
Roosevelt said he would never have become president without his time in Medora, where he found solace and strength after personal tragedy, the deaths of his mother and wife on the same day. The library opens to the public Saturday. It has interactive features, including a chance to ask Roosevelt questions with the help of AI. The Trump administration lifting restrictions on Anthropic's latest AI model.
Anthropic's Claude Fable 5 is now available, as well as access to Mythos 5. Both AI models were blocked for use by foreign nationals by the Commerce Department last month, forcing the company to take down the products just days after their release. The Trump administration has raised cybersecurity concerns with the AI models. Another company, OpenAI, is restricting the release of its new AI product at the request of the Trump administration. President Trump signed an executive order last month establishing a framework for the federal government to check advanced AI systems for national security concerns.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. Before traveling earlier today, the president denying personal involvement in his investments, answering questions from reporters.
Well, I've made a lot of money before I became president, and they invest my money, and I don't talk to them. I don't even speak to them. So I have many people, I don't know what they call it, closed accounts or something. You put your money in, and that's it.
This after a financial filing showing he made nearly $1.2 billion from cryptocurrency businesses. Some Democrats in Congress have previously called for investigations. The Dow fluctuating just before the bell, closing down 12 points. America's listening to Fox News.
Point!
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace!
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The typical beast of summer is with us again this afternoon. Sunny, hot, humid, a little hazy out there. 98 for the high. Tonight, clear, warm, humid, 78. Thursday, sunny, hot, and humid, 98 degrees. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sunny, hot, and humid. Each afternoon or early evening could pop a thunderstorm. Isolated variety, 95 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I had a really good in-depth conversation with myself here just about 60 seconds ago, trying to organize my thoughts for the show. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As we take you through this amazing holiday week with really hot weather, I have to start with this because it's just something we committed to years ago, and there's no way that we can ignore it because it's the triple-digit heat indices right now.
It's so damn hot! Milk was a bad choice.
Oh, thank God. You know, the smell is finally out of my car. I told you the story. I spilled the milk on the... So your mic's not up. I'm not sure why. Sorry about that. There it is. Yeah, I spilled the milk on the mat in my car, and then I didn't clean it, and it caked on. But it's okay now. We're okay. It does not smell. I have like 4 different, air fresheners hanging from the inside of my car right now, so that has worked effectively. I appreciate the listeners' concern and prayers for me.
You are a man of extremes.
Oh
my gosh, Fred, 100% accurate.
Well, what's the other extreme?
Anything that happens to you is extreme.
In other words, most of us would have panicked and immediately cleaned it up and then sniffed and wondered if something happened. You leave it for days. And then
it wasn't days.
I thought you said it was days.
No. It was one day. The shopping trip occurred on Saturday. The milk spilled on the mat on Saturday. I didn't take the mat out, and then on Sunday morning, I realized remember I left the bread in the back seat.
Hours.
You got to get the timeline right here.
I
You really
apologize.
this is fake news.
Yeah.
Speaking of fake news, that makes a good segue into the stuff. Look, I honestly, I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I can't even imagine what Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and anybody that George Washington, because Selena Zito has a great column about George Washington today and something that happened in the French Indian War well before the Revolution that is fascinating, that kind of paved the way for the Revolution. She's been doing daily columns about that, but just to have a conversation with someone and with the audio I'm about to play and say, this is what we're doing 250 years later and how we're handling some of these issues, which they would just laugh their asses off. I mean, I think people from the 1990s or even the 2000s who passed away, who may have been prominent people, maybe even gay people, they would say, are you kidding me with what we're doing here? So I want to play a couple examples here, and I have some Twitter examples too of the reaction to the women's sports and the Title IX issue yesterday, which was really, really important. And again, it's an overwhelming amount of people in this country that feel this way. I mean, I'm going to play some audio here that shows that it's 70%. I think Caitlin Collins says 70% of people, even Democrats, think that the fairness issue in sports is significant. But that doesn't matter, because what happens here is with the media, they just do their own thing. And I think, and I've said this before, you have these young, progressive, real whiny, troublemaking victims that are the editors and the reporters and the people who work behind the scenes. So honestly, when I start going over some of my stuff this morning, and it was after a dentist appointment. I had a dentist appointment today. Oh, my God, I hate dentist appointment. I really do. It's like the worst thing ever. Although
I'm there with you.
Dr. Pete Spolito, good dude. He listens to the show. He got me through it. We're talking about sedation dentistry, Sue.
Oh.
It's the only way I think I can go through it. I don't think I can, here's what happened. Can I just tell you quickly what happened, and I'll circle back to my points here?
Of course.
Is he goes through, and there's lots of stuff going on. I'm just hearing things shouted out. And he goes, maybe I should organize all this, and then you come back, and I'll give you a plan of attack. I'm like, okay, let's do that. So I didn't even have my cleaning or anything today. I think he looked inside of those, man, you're going to have, I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from you. That's what I know. Anyway, so after I get home and I start looking at the responses from the decision yesterday, I'm like, wait, this is not real. There's no way that this can be real. Okay, so let's go to Exhibit A. Craig Melvin, NBC, on the Today Show. He literally gives, have you heard this yet? He gives a trigger warning.
Oh, come on.
Because of the words biological male and biological female. You can't make it up.
Just a quick note here. The terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female, the High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision and their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself, biological male, biological female.
What? You had to explain that to your audience, and you did it with a straight face, and you didn't start laughing? That's incredible. Okay, play a little game this weekend with your liberal friends and tell them what Craig Melvin did and said, hey, do you think that was a smart thing to do? It's unreal. So then there's ABC News, and this is where, look, you get into the bias stuff, and I'm going to explain the bias. You're going to hear it. It's going to be so blatant here.
Devin, you had the exclusive interview with Becky Pepper Jackson, the transgender athlete at the center of the West Virginia case. She will no longer be able to participate on her track and field team.
Okay, couple things about that. Let's start with the corrections. He will no longer, and he will because he has every right to play on the boys' team, mainly because he's a boy. So I just want to make sure people understand that.
That's right. A 15-year-old, the only known openly transgender student and athlete in the state of West Virginia, bravely brought this case to the Supreme Court.
Bravely brought this case to the Supreme Court. Now, I don't care where you are on the journalistic spectrum. That is not something a reporter should be using as a descriptor in a story like this. Because if you do that, and I'm going to allow the reporter just a little leeway here, don't you have to talk about the brave women like Paula Scanlon and Riley Gaines, and who do we have on last night?
Caitlin
Wheeler. All of these people who had to stand in locker rooms with, Will Thomas and his penis hanging out and being forced to do that and being told by the administration that if they're not on board with this movement, this is bigger than them. So suck it up and keep your thoughts to yourself because we don't want to hear about it. This is bigger than that. They don't want to talk about the victims, of which there are many across the country, these young women. I don't care if there's a half of transgender athlete in West Virginia. It should not be allowed. And it was the right Supreme Court decision. And thank freaking God we had conservatives on there that made the right move. So now you'll have a blue state like Illinois who likes to mutilate children with J.B. Pritzker, mutilating children. You're never going to have that in Missouri. I choose to live in Missouri because it's outrageous that these are people that fight for this and this child mutilation with children. All you got to do, by the way, is just go back to Jamie Reed's column. Jamie Reed, a lesbian, married to a trans guy who laid this all out in the free press and said, this is horrible what we're doing to these kids because they're mentally ill. Oh, the guy that comes in, he wants puberty blockers, but he's having sex with a dog. Yep, let's hop him up on puberty blockers and transition him. That's what they were doing. Medical professionals. Look, this is some of this, honestly, God, not unlike the Catholic priest scandal. This is felonious behavior, what was going on with these so-called medical professionals at WashU, at Children's Hospital. It's embarrassing, it's reckless, and it's dangerous. It really is. It's very dangerous. Here's another headline here. Opinion, USA Today. My trans daughter, Becky Pepper Jackson, wanted to play the sport she loves. That simple wish took her all the way to the Supreme Court. Correction. My son wanted to play the sports that he loves, and he's still free to do that, just so you know. He can do that on the men's team. If he's not good enough for the men's team, then I don't know what to tell you. So then there's J.B. Pritzker, who, of course, he loves the trans. It's all about the trans with J.B. Pritzker.
Republicans are using it in political campaigns, political messaging. On the issue itself, do you think the court was right?
I think that we ought to be protecting trans kids.
So you think
That's
they were
what
wrong?
I think. I can tell you this, that those trans kids, I'm sure you've seen the statistics that depression and other mental health challenges are following these kids because of the way they're being treated
It's a
in
bunch
some
of BS.
communities. We ought to be sympathizing with the parents. We ought to be trying to help them help their children and not putting barriers in the way of children just being kids.
Okay, you're a nutshell. Okay. Well, by the way, that's my
That
favorite.
did not
just being
answer
kids,
the
all right?
question.
It didn't answer the question, and that's crazy. For kids just being kids, you mean like what, a 3-year-old thinks he's a girl when he shouldn't have or she shouldn't have the right to change their gender just on a whim because the parents are child abusers and they see this happening? It's outrageous. It's nuts that this is the hill that he wants to die in for trans kids. Right, here's some more.
And Justice Kavanaugh was writing that he doesn't think that transgender athletes should be vilified or ostracized. When you look at the numbers, though, there was a Reuters Ipsos poll that found that 67% of Americans agree with the transgender athlete ban. Do you find yourself in agreement with those 67% of Americans?
I think that, first of all, this is a decision that gets made by a family. That's a decision that's been handled by schools and school districts
poorly
for a number of years now.
Poorly.
I think we ought to let it happen at the local level as it has been. The 3 in Illinois have been just fine.
Yeah, okay, so again, he didn't answer the question.
Nope,
right?
never
So
does.
He said yesterday, he goes, I know that there are trans people right now wondering if anyone is going to stand up for their simple right to exist. My friend John Ziegler tweeted, when the hell did right to exist somehow get morphed into the right to infringe on the rights of others and special protection from criticism for doing so? So screw you, J.B. Pritzker. J.K. Rowling is always great on this. BBC News blasts this out. U.S. Supreme Court upholds bans on transgender women in female school and college sports. J.K. Rowling, you mean men who claim to be women. You're a national broadcaster that consistently obfuscates facts around sex because you've taken an ideological position the public overwhelmingly rejects. This isn't news, it's propaganda. That's what ABC News did. That's what NBC News did. And by the way, the most egregious media malpractice of the day, and we touched on it only briefly yesterday when Ilya Shapiro brought it up, is Nina Totenberg, one of the most lefty, flawed journalists in the country who's made mistakes on so many things. But she goes out yesterday and reports that Justice Alito is retiring because she hears the word retirement from the room when the decision on the sports issue came down, and she reports it, and NPR doesn't even check it. They blast it out there, and now she's apologizing for the worst journalistic mistake she's made in 50 years. I can promise you she's made worse. Okay, but she's a complete embarrassment. The only credit I'll give her is she came out and she was very emphatically apologizing for it and apologizing personally to Justice Alito. But that's what we have in the quality of the press. We have Nina Totenberg and her BS. We have NBC issuing a trigger warning for using the words biological women and biological men. I'll just stop there because you don't have to go any further than that right there to figure out how effed up the people in the legacy media are. And by the way, it's not just people in New York. It's Ben Hochman at the Post-Dispatch and people like that. I got to be careful. That's my favorite paper now. They believe this too. They think that people and kids, when they're 4 years old, if they're in the wrong body, should be mutilated and hopped up on puberty blockers. Thank God we've had people like Governor Kehoe, Governor Parsons, Eric Schmidt, Catherine Hanaway, who have tried to do everything in their power to shut this down. And in most cases in Missouri, it's been successful.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We had a really nice commute this morning. It's a holiday week. It should be okay. Westbound 70 is fine out of downtown. Little slow at K and at Wentzville, but that's it. 64, some moderate volume. It's approaching Hampton out through McCausland and just a bit out at Prospect as well. We've got southbound 270 with slow pockets anywhere from Olive through 21. But again, it's pockets. It's not a solid jam. Southbound 141 slowing at 21. 55 looks good, but on the Illinois side, we've got eastbound 64, and it's a slow go. Now, this is due to road work, but if you're headed for 255, it's slower than it even was yesterday. And we've also got volume due to road work on the Illinois side, 5570, right around 203, and that's in both directions. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call them for their 26-point tune-up. One price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online, overheaddoor.stlouis.com. Sue Thomas with traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in traffic with hundreds of thoughts racing through her mind, like what she needs to pack for her family's vacation and what they still need from the store. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members of our preferred partner plan get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your AC and furnace at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue's News on a Wednesday afternoon in the next hour, and Our friend Michael Langston, who used to work here on the other side of the building, he helped a little bit with some producing here on 97.1 FM Talk. He works for the Cardinals. He's the production coordinator, and they have the new Cardinals yearbook out, which is always amazing. And the fans are going to want that for sure. So we're going to talk about that, the latest Cardinals magazines as well. Michael will swing by at 4:32. Our friend Duane Patterson in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to preview the soccer game with Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer, at 5:20. So a lot of things going on. I'm personally glad that the game does not kick off until after the show because two reasons. I kind of want to watch the game, and I didn't want the competition here this afternoon as well. We have Charles Lipson back with us, Professor Emeritus at the University of Chicago. How are you this afternoon, Charles?
I'm good, and I grew up as a Cardinals fan because just below Memphis in the Mississippi Delta, we got that radio from St. Louis, and I was rooting for Stan the Man.
It's awesome. I know you've shared that story before. We have so many people from, that part of the country in the South. Billy Bob Thornton in Arkansas, the same thing. They grew up listening to Jack Buck and Mike Shannon on KMOX and became lifelong fans. Let me take you into politics here. Let's start with Iran because that's an unusual situation right now. I mean, I was off all week last week, Charles, so I wasn't dialed into everything as much as possible. But are we still in a war right now? Actually, I don't think I was off last week. I was off the week before, but still, are we in a war right now?
We're in what in World War I was called the Sitzkrieg. That is, everybody's kind of sitting on their hands a little bit. It seems to me that what you had was a war of attrition. And in a war of attrition, it's like one of those boxing matches in which nobody can knock the other out, and they just keep pounding each other to see who can stand up the longest. And the problem is that Trump was, in the end, caught by the upcoming midterms and the fact that he never really built public support for the war.
Well, I think that's true. Let me play you what J.D. Vance, who's been really kind of the guy out front on this, said to Laura Ingraham last night.
The Iranians have not hit ships in the last couple of weeks, and the oil is flowing in the Strait of Hormuz, in part because the president made very clear that if the Iranians hit ships, we were going to hit back. So, it's going to take sometimes the carrot and the stick here. But, Laura, I actually think that the United States is in a great position, however the negotiation ultimately shakes out.
Now, Charles, he says, look, we kind of win either way.
We have all the cards in the negotiation. We obviously want it to be successful. But even if it's not successful, we've accomplished the core mission, which is to ensure that the Iranians never have a nuclear weapon. In other words, it's a win-win outcome for the American people.
Okay, but have we accomplished that? That kind of caught me off guard because I think the only way to really do that is to go in and get the highly enriched uranium, which we're not doing. We're kind of accepting their word for it.
Right. He's putting lipstick on that pig. First of all, they have hit ships. They've hit a couple in the last couple of weeks. That was simply false. And I think that we're willing to say something. We're willing to back off on the on getting the uranium for two reasons. One is we think it's buried deep underground and will be hard to get at. And the second related reason would be in order to get at it, we would need support from the regime. That is, the regime would have to guarantee that the people who went in to dig it out would be safe, and they won't do it. The fact is, the agreement that we've struck as the MOU has all sorts of problems, but the biggest problem is that everything we consider a win, they explicitly deny that they've agreed to.
Yeah. Well, and that's what part of the problem is. And I don't know, do we kind of sit in nowhere land here for a couple of months and just kind of wonder what's going to happen? Because that's sort of how the last week and a half has felt for sure.
I think that's exactly what is happening. I was surprised that the Iranians allowed some firing to take place out of southern Lebanon. I'm surprised that the Iranians fired on some ships. And the reason I'm surprised is that it looks to me like, given what the damage that our military did to them already, they had gotten such a good agreement in the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, I didn't see why they would want to do anything that could jeopardize it.
Charles, any reaction? I mean, I think that the Supreme Court decisions that were released have been pretty much what we expected, right? A victory on Title IX in women's sports. Certainly Missouri will be affected by that because we're not going to allow that to happen. I'm sure Illinois is going to be a different story, in California and New York. Birthright citizenship, which I wish the court would have overturned. I understand why they didn't, and they're asking for perhaps a different path. I don't think we were ever going to pass another constitutional amendment in this country, but most experts were expecting that to go that way. So did you have any surprises or any reaction to the court decisions from this week or last?
Mark, we must have had a brain meld because your ideas are pretty much the way that I saw it. Let me make a couple of points. The first, which you just made, is that I think has been kind of missing in the public discussion, is that the decision on trans athletes was really a states' rights decision. They didn't say that letting biological men into women's sports violated any of the basic federal laws. They just said that states the states that wanted to keep them out weren't themselves violating
the laws that they passed are legal, right?
Exactly. So this will be a blue state versus red state kind of thing. The striking thing to me is how the feminist movement, with a few exceptions, have just rolled over and played dead on this.
How about three women on the United States Supreme Court who rolled over and played dead, one of whom can't even define a woman because she proved that during her confirmation hearings?
Exactly. Now, on birthright citizenship, I think that the real problem here, the biggest problem, is this birthright tourism. And I was surprised that the vote was as close as it was. If Chief Justice Roberts, had gone the other way, that decision would have gone the other way. So we're one of those three. If one of those three doesn't make it and is replaced by a conservative, we could get a different decision. And we could get a different decision. I suspect what the Republicans will do is they'll try to make Democrats vote on all of these things so that they're on record as wanting to make. And I've heard numbers as high as 1 million people in China that have U.S. citizenship.
Yeah. No, it's outrageous.
Of the.
And I think a lot of people might think it's conspiratorial or not true, but look, it is a real deal. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't read or at least read parts of Alito's dissent and Clarence Thomas's dissent, blistering, I would highly recommend that. All right, so I got a guy coming on here, Charles, in a few minutes, John David Danielson, who writes at The Federalist. He wrote a piece that caught my attention, and it's not a very positive piece about this country, in our 250 years, because he points out, as I've talked about, you've talked about, there's a lot of these younger people who are being taught and indoctrinated into hating our country. And that's very sad, to me and to others who deeply love this country. But your thoughts as we approach this weekend, where I hope that American people can get together and say, man, we've got, despite our differences, we've got the greatest damn country on the planet with all these freedoms. And let's be proud of that.
Absolutely. Let me just say that that if you watch those YouTube videos of Europeans, South Africans, others who've come to the United States, and what they've heard is simply the mainstream media in the U.S. and left-wing media in their own countries trashing the United States.
Yes.
And then they see what it's really like. They walk into a Costco or they walk into a Walmart and they're just stunned. And by the way, have you seen how many people have died in Paris this week because they don't allow them to have air conditioning?
Isn't that unreal?
I mean, it's just sad. Yeah. I love this country. If you walked around my neighborhood, which is, I've spent many years in Chicago. I'm just in the Austin area now in Texas. You would see more flags, more U.S. flags in my neighborhood of 26 houses than you would see in the 50,000 people who live in Hyde Park, Chicago.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It really is. And I hope that,
There's a
some of
deep
this
split, my friend.
Yeah, I
A
know.
deep
I'm worried.
split.
And I'm worried about it with younger people. And I got a couple of those younger people in their 20s. My son's, one of them a teacher in Chicago. Charles, you have a great 4th of July Independence Day. Happy 250 to this great country, and we'll talk soon. I always appreciate your contributions. You know that.
I really appreciate it, Mark.
All right, take
have
care.
a happy 250th.
Charles Lipson. You can find him at charleslipson.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not bad on the Missouri side. Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown. Eastbound a little slow at 141. And westbound slowing at Wentzville. Now, eastbound is also jammed east of Warrenton. There was an earlier accident there, so just expect delays. It opens up by the time you get to Wright City. And boy, do we have a jam on southbound 141. And this is as you head toward 21. Looks like an accident near Romaine Creek, and that has caused a delay. Now, southbound 270, slow pockets of moderate volume, and mostly it's the Clayton Road overpass down through 21. 55 looks fine until you get south of Highway M. Some moderate volume there in the construction zone. It's the Illinois side that's really jammed. Eastbound 64, 111 to 157, and 5570 westbound approaching 111 to 203. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. We would like to congratulate them on their 50-year anniversary. You don't stay in business that long by not supplying quality products with outstanding service. The key is their experienced staff. Contact Barron Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years is just the beginning. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I want to talk about the Gelman team, and one of the things that you should know about Mark and Neil and what they do at the Gelman team is they spend way more money on marketing than the average agent, because they're going to then attract more buyers in one day than most will attract in a year. And they have a very successful operation. Look, they're friends of mine. I've known them for a long time. I've been friends even before they were my realtors. But they have options for you here in St. Louis with what continues to be a very tricky real estate market. One of the things that they make available to you on their website, they invested in some awesome software where you can find out for free what your home is really worth. It only takes like 30 seconds at thegelmanteam.com. You can fill out your address. They're not going to sell your information or anything like that. You don't have to worry about it. But if you need their help, they can absolutely help you. They have a true team. One of the things that I enjoyed with my my process, which again, these can be stressful, is I had someone assigned on the buy side and then someone on the sell side. So Matt Lamb, I got to know him very well, especially because he was a Packers fan. He was the guy helping us find our next home, which we did successfully. And then Stacy was on the sell side, and she sold the home and did a great job there. So it's a team effort. They do great work at the Gelman team. Check out that tool on their website or call 314-336-1991. The Gelman team at thegelmanteam.com. Certain restrictions apply.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show at 3:34 is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
250 years of capitalism, private ownership, and rugged individualism. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
All right, we should mention that tomorrow is the final day of our work week. We have a best of show that will air on Friday, so no Reardon Roundtable. But tomorrow, Selena Zito will be here. She's been writing some awesome columns on America 250. Paul Hall will have some weekend entertainment recommendations. We're going to kind of cheat a little bit and do some things that we do on a Friday. Cusimano is going to join us. George Gray from The Price is Right, who works with Drew Carey all the time. Woo! He's the modern Jotty Olsen of The Price is Right. Of course, he's a St. Louis guy as well. He's going to come in and play this little game we like to call The Price is Wrong. So tomorrow, tomorrow, we're going to kind of ease into the holiday. We're also going to spend some time with my friend and colleague, John Hancock. John works more on the other side of the building. He is a political consultant and has been doing really, really good stuff on the history of the country, and I want to highlight that as well. Right now, and this one's a bit of a downer, but I do think that it's important to talk about, John David Danielson is back with us. He's a senior editor at The Federalist. He wrote a piece I read earlier this week called After 250 Years, Our American Republic is Coming Apart. I reread that piece before the show in order to prep just a little bit, John, and it's kind of a bummer, and unfortunately, I think you're right, which is why I wanted to have you back on this afternoon. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You kind of describe this as an existential crisis, and I want you to explain to the audience what's at stake here because, we talk about these themes all the time, the differences between what younger people feel about this country and what people perhaps in my demographic and my audience feel about this country, and it really is growing into a crisis that makes me sad and worried.
Yeah, and the crisis stems really from the loss of confidence and loss of really believing that America is a country worthy of love and devotion. It maybe sounds a little bit strange to say that because, traditionally throughout human history, most people have loved their home country, their motherland, right? It's the place that gave you everything, that gave you your family, your community, that you grew up in. You speak the language, the culture is yours. But what we have, not just in the rising generation, but on the left generally, growing number of Americans who don't like America, who think America is a force for evil in the country, who are not patriotic at all. And, and they're starting to sort of win public office running on those, you saw this.
Well, New York, right? Colorado last night.
Yes, they can't. Right, exactly. These people are fundamentally anti-American, and they're running on an anti-American platform, and they're winning elections. Well, what that tells me is that in some parts of the country, there's a significant portion of the electorate that agrees with that assessment and doesn't love America and wants to destroy the America that has been and transform it into something else. And that really is a crisis of a kind that we haven't had before in this country.
Look, one of the things and one of the reasons that I talked about my support for President Trump, I did not support the president the first time that he ran, but I didn't think there was really a choice considering the alternatives the last two elections. And I mentioned many, many times during that election a couple of years ago, America 250, and how I would have been horrified that, Kamala would have been overseeing our anniversary. But one thing that you said in your column, and again, I have a hard time challenging this, John, is you said that, celebrating this milestone as a nation this week together is maybe no longer possible because we're no longer a single nation, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that goes back to what I was saying before. We've fractured into a kind of we've kind of balkanized, right? And part of this is multiculturalism. Part of it is identity politics. Rather than earlier generations saw themselves as Americans, and wherever you were from, whatever part of the country you're from, or whatever your background was, if you loved this country and you worked hard to make a life for yourself and your family in this country, you were an American. And a lot of people don't see it that way anymore. And in that column, I include some polling data that's really shocking. And it's not just one poll; it's multiple recent polls of significant numbers of Democrats. Over 50% in some polls saying that they're not proud to be Americans, that they don't love this country, and they have all sorts of complaints with it. And so it makes it very hard to feel like we are all one people and we're sort of doing this thing called America together when you have that many people who are ashamed of their country, who don't love it, and are not proud to be Americans.
So, you have to wonder how much of that is just Trump because he's such a divisive person. But one of the things that frustrates me with those people, the critics, and I'll use my former hero, perhaps Bruce Springsteen, as a perfect example. You've got people out there, and the Hollywood left loves to do this, and the musicians, preaching at us about our other existential crisis, which is not really true. The threat to democracy, all this other stuff. And they're on their high horse, but they never once mentioned anything about the 12 million or whatever the number might be, of migrants that were not legally in this country that crossed the border under Joe Biden, some of the other things that were recklessly just completely ignored by the mainstream media, which is another big part of the problem, as I'm sure you know. But it's sad because music and sports would be two things, John, I would point to. Let's use music. I could go to a Bruce Springsteen concert, stand next to people, probably know we don't all have the same political beliefs, but we would still kind of unite on the musical front. Same thing with entertainment to a certain extent. But now that seems almost impossible. I used to have this this little trip that I would take with some dear friends of mine here in St. Louis, John and Cindy Lynch, and they'd put on a little mini music festival down in Todos Santos, Mexico, which is a great place north of Cabo. And this goes back, John, 10 years. And in the era of Trump in the last 4 years, I don't think we would ever put something like that together again with the same people. And all these people loved each other, and we shared this common passion for music. But those people are now divided, and having a moment like that isn't even possible. And it makes me deeply sad that that's happened.
Yeah, a lot of this is sort of, the fruit of the tree that was poisoned decades ago in our public school system and in our universities with essentially a leftist ideology that casts the entire American story as one giant crime, that America is an imperialistic immoral power that is based on exploitation, greed, and violence. That is what these DSA candidates that have been winning primary elections in the Democratic Party in New York and Colorado and elsewhere, that's what they say. That's their view of the country, that we're sort of an imperialistic criminal enterprise, and we need to be torn down and transformed, And so if that's your view of the country, it's hard to come together over music or football or, these other things that in the past were able to unite us, even though maybe we disagreed about, other political subjects. We at least loved our country. When the love of country is gone, now it's sort of like a war of one faction against another. And that's what we're seeing in our politics more and more, that Trump himself did not cause that, but he did expose it.
John David Danielson from The Federalist is here. Now, when it comes to, I don't know that there really is a solution for this. You offer a couple. They're pretty radical, but I want you to kind of explain what you think might happen or should happen.
Yeah, well, one thing that we need to get a handle on, as you mentioned earlier, the 12 to 20 million illegal immigrants and foreign nationals that came into our country under the Biden administration. We can't have that and still retain a cohesive sense of national identity. You can't have millions and millions of people coming into the country illegally every year from every corner of the globe and retain anything like a common American culture or common American identity, let alone a common, language that we all speak together and are able to communicate with each other. And of course, the left and Democrats think that, restrictions on immigration are fundamentally racist, but I think the real problem they have with immigration restriction is that it's a very powerful tool that they have in their toolkit to transform the country by bringing in foreigners and people from the third world who don't share American values and who don't identify as Americans.
Yeah, and that's problematic. I would agree with you, and I don't know. Look, I'm all for. We mentioned, and I mention this every once in a while, and there was a piece that I referenced yesterday which talked about some of the naturalization ceremonies that take place, and we do this every year here at Busch Stadium. And you have the people that have gone through the process, that are proud to be Americans, that are assimilating, that look at this country as the land of opportunity, and they are so proud to become American citizens. And those of us who are watching them take the oath are so proud of them wanting to be and becoming Americans. So that, as you know, the language gets conflated between legal and illegal. And that's still just baffling to me that a lot of the people in the media never want to separate those two things out. And politicians do it. They know they do it on purpose, but that's part of the problem as well.
Yeah, it's a confusion of categories, and this has been a deliberate thing that Democrats and left-wing activists have done to introduce new categories of people and, call them asylum seekers or legal permanent residents or people on temporary protective status. And so they want to break down this binary between legal and illegal, which is mostly kind of a fiction if they're being dishonest about the legal categories there. But it's a way to kind of get around this fact that, the people who go through the naturalization process and do take that public oath and who do want to become Americans, that's a lot of work, man. You have to really you got to be committed to it. and good for the people that go through it. And a lot of those people are some of the most vociferous opponents of mass illegal immigration because they did it the right way, and they really wanted to build a life here, and good for them.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much. Happy 250th. Let's try to enjoy the part that we can because we love this country. I'm a fan of the Federalists, so I appreciate it. Take care.
Hey, thanks.
All right.
Same to you.
Awesome.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Lot of volume on the Illinois side tonight. Westbound 5570, especially headed for 203 due to road work. Eastbound 64 jams approaching 255. That goes through 157. On the Missouri side, no problems headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. 70 westbound looks good. Just a little bit slow at Cave Springs and Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. Now, eastbound is jammed. Now, eastbound 70, there was an accident before Wright City that's caused a jam back to Warrenton. Westbound 64, it's approaching Hampton out through McCausland as far as delays go. And Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. There was an accident southbound 141 near Romaine Creek Road. Slow-moving traffic there. It's worse than 270, which just has some moderate volume. In pockets, Olive down through 21. 55 is just a little slow through the construction zone south of Highway M. This report brought to you by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We're here to celebrate America's 250th birthday in 2026. This is 97.1 FM Talk. America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Hi, I'm Eric. And I'm Howard. We're the pain guys of Canner and Pintaluga. You already know after an accident to call 911 and then 411. 1-800-411-PAIN.
But you may not know behind the number is an experienced law firm with nearly 100 attorneys working hard for our clients.
Call the pain guys at 1-800-411-PAIN.
Law offices of Canner and Pintaluga, Kyle Conhauser, Esquire. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Offices throughout the U.S. Not all lawyers licensed in all jurisdictions.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
I think those of you who have listened for any amount of time realize I have a very simple rule when it comes to the hate crime hoaxes, as they are, that go out there. I'll give you a small example. Feces being spread across the wall at the University of Missouri in some way to represent, white supremacy. Never happened. It was completely made up. In fact, I think in that case, and in most of the cases where you have language that is written in a bathroom or in a school, it's 99% of the time a black kid that does it. I'm not making that up. It's just what happens. And the racism is made up. We had the situation in St. Charles a couple years ago. Big story. Channel 5 did it. A noose was found in a bathroom. Oh, my God. Racial crime. No, it had nothing to do with that. It was a kid who was mentally, in big crisis and was going to kill himself. But that didn't stop the media from, gaslighting on the race stuff. The most prominent example of all of this, and there's so many, I'm just telling you, the default position is, the Post-Dispatch did this. My favorite story goes back to Oakland, California. This is before COVID. A lot of this happened in the aftermath of Mike Brown. This might have been after George Floyd. But anyway, there were nooses that were found in these trees in Oakland, and the mayor of Oakland was just incensed about this white supremacy. Well, no, it was actually a black dude who had those things up there for a long time for exercise. But even when the explanation was presented, the factual explanation, it didn't stop the race baiters from backing down. And that's what's happened with Jussie Smollett and some of these other cases as well, unfortunately. They don't care what the facts are. They ignore the facts. So fast forward to when the Post-Dispatch did a very similar story. I'm guessing you can still probably find this in their archive. Somebody put nooses up in Tower Grove Park or somewhere there. They never did a follow-up on it because it was the same thing. People had put them there for exercise. There was no racism that was even any part of it. Like in the deal in Oakland, it was a black dude. All right, so now we have... This is the New York Times story. I got the paywall on the Chicago Tribune, so I'm going to have to use the New York Times because they did it the same thing. This goes back to June 10th, okay? Here we go. Law enforcement authorities said on Wednesday that they were investigating an act of arson involving a cross that had been set on fire in Grant Park in downtown Chicago. Police officers responded, blah, blah, blah. They discovered an object on fire. Fire department extinguished the fire. They say that the motives and circumstances about the incident are under investigation. Burning crosses, the New York Times says, have long been associated with the Ku Klux Klan and used as symbols of racial hatred and intimidation. The police did not specify whether they were investigating the burning as a hate crime. So what happened is that this gets out in the media in Chicago, and all the usual suspects, J.B. Pritzker says, let me be clear that hate has no home here in Chicago, adding, we will not be silent. Those responsible must be held accountable. The Reverend Michael Flagger, who is another race baiter in Chicago, said that he and the church were offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and the conviction of individuals involved. Flagger said the burning cross is not merely an act of vandalism, it's a historical symbol of terror, fear, and racial hatred. Okay, Sue, at this point, I'm expecting that you and an overwhelming majority of the audience, probably 99%, have no idea what the hook is, what the punchline is. You ready?
Yeah.
It was a white kid who hated Trump, who literally put a MAGA hat on top of the cross and burned it. That's the kid who did it. So if hate's not going to stand in Chicago, the kid who hates Trump, a guy that's almost been assassinated 3 times, living in a state where J.B. Pritzker, winds up that rhetoric about democracy under threat and all this other stuff and how dangerous Trump is, and it's a white kid who lights the cross with a MAGA hat. Do you think there's any follow-up reporting?
Of course not.
Let me say this. In fairness, and this is where I got paywalled, in fairness, and this is how I found out about the story, because quite honestly, I don't think anyone's talking about this thing, right? The Tribune did editorialize about this today, and one of their points was, have we learned nothing since Jussie Smollett? So when these things happen, KSDK, Fox 2, all of you guys here, don't go out and report it right away like Nina Totenberg did yesterday with Justice Alito. Maybe, just maybe, wait for the facts to come in. So I love the fact that there's a $10,000 reward. Man, if I'm the MAGA kid who lit that thing on fire, I'd turn myself in and say, I did it. I'm going to need this for my lawyers, right? Why wouldn't you do that? It's just unreal. And one of the things the Tribune editorial board said is Michael Flagger and some of the usual suspects, Brandon Johnson, Pritzker, they all glom on. It's always race because Everything with the left is about race. Every little thing has to go back to race. It's so exhausting and it's so embarrassing. It really is. And this is a story. Let's just talk about this. In a fair media world, somebody out there would really do a story on the number of hoaxes that we've had in this country. Everything from what I mentioned in Oakland to incidents here in St. Louis to the one at Mizzou to Jussie Smollett. 99%. This should be the default. I've said this, and I've tweeted this out to the local media and to the national media. The default position of a journalist when presented with a story like that is to not believe it, to treat it as if it's not true. That's not a journalistic rule. I'm making it up. That's part of journalism. You're skeptical. You want to find out if what you think might be true is true, or is there another side to the story here? But nobody wants to do that in an era of agenda journalism. They just want to put out there, there's no better example than what's happened here in the aftermath of the trans thing. Listen to this. I'm going to play this a couple of times. Craig Melvin on NBC.
Just a quick note here. The terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female, the High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision and their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself, biological male, biological female.
So that's offensive to their audience, so they had to do a trigger warning. That's where we are when we're about to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our great country with embarrassments like that. And how much attention will something like that really get outside of conservative circles? You think CNN's going to play that and say, Craig Melvin, that was embarrassing? Of course they're not, because they are on his side. They're all on that side of the progressive, crazy socialist movement. All right, I'm done for this hour. Happy birthday, America. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a jam due to an accident eastbound 70 east of Warrenton. And traffic slowing in both directions. Once you get past it and to Wright City, things open up. Now, 70 westbound out of downtown is fine. Little bit of volume, Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. Quiet through North County on 270. But northbound 170, a little slow at Airport Road. And 6440, it looks like it's now approaching Hampton out through McCausland, with eastbound slowing east of 170 and westbound slow again, Lake St. Louis Boulevard on out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, mostly moderate volume, but it's olive down through Gravois and a little bit at 21. And we still have slow-moving traffic southbound 141 headed for Romaine Creek Road due to an accident on the Illinois side. 64 eastbound is jammed 111 to 157, and 5570 westbound slows at 203. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring, or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
For 250 years, America has been more than a place. It's been a promise, a story of courage, hope, and dreams. And through it all, local TV and radio broadcasters have been there, telling the story of America, bringing truth to light. Broadcasters tell the story of who we are and who we aspire to be. We are America's storytellers. We are broadcasters. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
How about all text? You focus on the road.
As a passenger, you have the power to prevent an accident. There are 1,000 ways to stop a distracted driver. Choose one.
A message from CTIA.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
President Trump meets President Roosevelt. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. It happened with the help of artificial intelligence at the new Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in North Dakota.
Every day a president faces storms most people never see. Keep your nerve and remember the nation comes first. You get through.
Well, I appreciate those words. Those words are fantastic. And I just want to say it's an honor to be with you today.
The president dedicating the new library in Medora to a leader he calls a legend and true American hero. Also calling it a time to rediscover the indomitable spirit that built the country.
And all that will ensure America always remains the most exceptional nation on the face of the earth. We're not going to let communists get in our way. We're not going to let anyone get in our way. Not the communists.
This after another Democrat in Congress was ousted by a Democratic socialist challenger in Colorado primaries yesterday. There and in New York, the challengers overcoming controversy on some issues by arguing current lawmakers aren't fighting hard enough for working Americans. New York City has heightened security for multiple America 250 events this weekend and also reportedly for the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce wedding. A source telling AP it's Friday at Madison Square Garden, though not confirmed by the couple. Earlier today, a proposal atop the Empire State Building where a couple dressed in black climbed the spire, unfurling a banner about the power of love and world peace before apparently getting engaged on the way back down, pausing on a ledge.
The woman is believed to be Angela Nicolau. Her now fiance Yvonne Bierkiss. She posted a video on her Instagram from the top of the Empire State Building, encouraging people to watch the whole stunt live on the stream. She and her now fiance, according to her social media account, appeared in a documentary in 2024 following this Russian couple as they scaled skyscrapers around the world.
Fox's Brian Yennis, they were arrested today. America is listening to Fox News.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The drum of summer continues to be clear, warm, and humid. Upper 80s once the sun goes down. 78 for the overnight low. Thursday, instant replay. Sunny, hot, and humid. 98 for the high. Thursday night, mostly clear and steamy. 78. Friday, sunny, hot, and humid. We'll watch for a pop afternoon or evening thunderstorm. Pop the keyword 95, and that's going to be the trend. Saturday, this is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we will have Sue's News coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We're also going to have our friend Michael Langston, who used to work here in the building. He's working for the Cardinals. The new Cardinals yearbook is out, and it's really very cool. I mean, it's something as a Cardinals fan you're going to want to have. And if you have someone on your gift list, for example, it's too bad Father's Day has already passed because would have made a great Father's Day gift. But still, birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. Michael's coming in. Duane Patterson to talk a little politics in the 5 o'clock hour. World Cup preview with Bill McDermott at 5:20. And then some media malfeasance coverage with Curtis Houck at the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour. Just a couple of real quick sports notes. Fred, I don't know if you know this. First of all, yesterday, did you see Wilson Contreras hit a 420-foot home run over Miles Michaelis?
I saw the fight later that day. Yeah.
Right. He got into it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of true. And then the Cubs. Have you seen the Cubs score this afternoon?
No.
It's 23-3 over the Padres. And Dansby Swanson has hit, I think he's hit 3 home runs.
That's like a football score.
That is a football score. So I always tell this story just because it's one of the memories of my childhood. Dansby Swanson, by the way, I think has hit 5 home runs in the last 24 hours. He hit 2 last night, 3 today. I saw Mike Schmidt hit 4 home runs, and there's only been a handful of people who have done that. You know, I think 15 or maybe 20 in the entire history of Major League Baseball. But I saw Mike Schmidt do that at Wrigley Field in 1977 or 1978. It was one of those years.
That's neat.
It was kind of cool. But 23-3. And by the way, it might even be higher than that out at this point. The Cubs have outscored the Padres 35-12 in the 3-game sweep heading into the 9th. It might be over now because that was a little while ago when Bob Nightingale was posting that. All right, we got big celebration coming in this weekend. I love Miranda Lambert. I think she is awesome. I was actually listening to a little Miranda on my drive in to work today. Jessica Fox is here, chair of Celebrate St. Louis. She's going to give us all the details of the weekend festivities. Jessica, how are you? Welcome to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
Hi, I'm great. Happy to be here.
Can you get Miranda to hang out with me a little bit when she's in town? Just have a Diet Coke or something like that?
I don't know. That might be a tall order.
You know, I was at a show. I don't think it was the last time she was here. Maybe 2 times ago at Riverport, as we will still call it. And I had a ticket in the pit. Sometimes I go to country shows by myself because my wife is not as big a fan. And I got such amazing photographs because I was right up against her and, you know, the performers, and she's such a great performer. So very happy that you have Miranda coming, a bunch of other artists as well. But what do we need to know? What do St. Louisans need to know about this coming weekend if they want to come downtown?
So it's going to be a big weekend. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got things that folks from St. Louis are certainly used to, some of our traditional elements like the concerts that you just mentioned, as well as our fireworks. But we've also got a number of other things that we've never really done before. So we've got an immersive innovation experience that's happening over at Live by Lowe's, and that's going to be both on the 3rd and the 4th. We've also got a classic car show that is going to be happening on July 4th as well. And that's also going to be over in the Ballpark Village area. We are bringing back America's Birthday Parade. It's going to be kicking off at 4 p.m., heading down Market Street, and then we hope that folks after the parade just walk into the concert grounds and they'll be able to stay for, as you mentioned, we've got Miranda Lambert, Kenny Loggins, we've got the Stephen Marley and Rebirth Brass Band.
That's cool. That's going to be a good show. I love me some Kenny Loggins.
I think Ludacris, too. There's a little Kenny Loggins. The last time I saw Kenny Loggins was literally, I think, in the 80s at the Fox. It was a long, long time ago, but he still has some great tunes out there. All right, what about the fireworks? What do we need to know about the fireworks?
So we got fireworks both nights. What I'll say about our first night of fireworks, and everybody should be prepared for, our fireworks and our 1500 drone show and our headliner Zed are doing an integrated show, and it's going to last roughly around 30 minutes.
Oh,
so
that's
just
neat.
a little bit. It's going to be so. Literally, it's going to be so cool.
That is so exciting because, you know, Zed puts together great music. And
look at Fred dropping Zed.
And drone shows are amazing.
Yeah, drone shows are awesome.
Are like out of the future. They're amazing.
I like drone shows, but one thing I was going to talk about today, and thankfully it's not happening here, there are a lot of communities that are completely banning fireworks and going to drone shows. I do not approve of that as an American. I have great memories. Man, they used to, and I don't know how this happens anymore, Jessica, but I remember there was at least one year, maybe a couple, when they were shooting fireworks from two different locations down at the Arch, like to the east, well, I guess it would be to the north and to the south on different barges. And it was, man, incredible. This would go back probably to the 80s as well for VP Fair. So I've been around here for a while. Anything else that you want to pass along? What about parking? Parking could be a little challenge. Any suggestions there? Are there shuttles running from anywhere?
So we suggest coming down early. As you mentioned, parking is going to go quickly. Take the metro, rideshare. Those are going to be the best ways to get downtown. The other things that I'll mention too, hydrate.
Yeah.
It is a July in St. Louis. Make sure you're drinking your water and absolutely make sure you have your sunscreen on.
One of the only times I ever got really, really sunburnt in my life was laying on the grass in front of the Arch waiting for Elton John to perform in, what was that, 81 or 82, and I just got fried. But we had a great time. It was a great Fair
Great
St.
memory.
Louis, or VP Fair. It was a great memory. That was when Elton John snuck through the crowd to get to the stage dressed as a police officer.
No way.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of the
so
story.
great.
All right, what's the website if folks, Jessica, want to check out any details?
CelebrateStLouis.org or follow us on Instagram, X. That's going to be the best place to get all of the up-to-date information.
Awesome. Thank you. Good luck. Happy 250th, and keep us posted if anything changes, okay?
Thanks so much.
All right, take care. That's the big America 250 celebration here, Celebrate St. Louis, going on this weekend. So I wanted to follow up with you guys on a couple of different fraud fronts because, we talk about that with George Rosenthal quite a bit. I think we've all had, goofy things that have come into our emails and texts. And I got to tell you, I get these text messages still from people that, are random people. And I had a pretty good one this week, but hang on, I'm trying to find, here it is. I take screen captures of this, right? So I told you I had one a couple weeks ago. Alex Rich tells me, he shared one with me yesterday. You guys don't seem to get these as much as us, right?
Well, give me an example.
So the example is someone reaches out to you and they claim that they know you, right? So in other words, here's Alex, and I get these all the time. Come over tonight. I went a little overboard at the market this morning. So that's all it says, and it's from a random text. So I don't know what the play is, okay? I don't know what exactly, because what happened a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if I can find it, but I engaged the person.
Yeah.
And then she said, my name is, like Shia or something like that, and I came across you. This is another one of the patterns. I came across you in my contacts, right, from Missouri. And I have a 314 number. How in the world would she figure out that I'm here in Missouri? So I basically said, quit scamming people and leave me alone. And then her last response was, evidence? ? Well, I let that go. I actually thought about calling her just to see. All right, so here's 2 days ago. Ready? And this one was different because my name was used, my last name. Okay, here we go. Hello there. Would it be all right if I confirm whether I am speaking with Reardon? It's spelled the right way. Okay, R-E-A-R-D-O-N.
Oh, no.
All right, and it's an 802 number, 802-782-9547.
What's 802?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Look that up while I'm talking. So the question is, would it be all right if I confirm whether I'm speaking with Reardon? Now, in fairness on this one, Fred, I do this sometimes with people if I lose their contact and I say I want to make sure it's the right person, especially in the world of politics. I don't want to say something about somebody.
Vermont.
Who was it? Okay, Vermont. There was somebody in politics, and I can't remember who it was, but they changed their number. And a lot of us were still texting. And the person on the other end is like, man, I think they were like enjoying the text because they knew that they were about this other person. Anyway, so the question is, are you speaking with Reardon? My response is, perhaps, but who is this? This is Rachel.
Uh-huh.
Nice to connect with you here. Okay?
Connect. That's a key word.
Yeah, right. I said, not good enough. I don't think we know each other. And then she says, so sorry to reach out to you so suddenly like this. I saw your name saved right in my contacts as Reardon from Missouri. So I thought I'd message you. I was just wondering how the weather has been over there these days.
Yeah.
I also wanted to check if you're still living in Missouri lately.
Yeah.
So what's the play here? What are they eventually? I kind of want to keep going with it at one point and just see what happens.
That's a good question. I have often wondered this, but I think that they're just starting off a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And the more info you give them.
And it's fishing.
It's fishing.
Right. And if you get 1 out of 100,
right.
you're scoring something perhaps, right?
And they know it's a good number. There's somebody on the other end.
Yeah.
And the more info you give them, they just collect.
Okay.
You know, maybe that's the thing. Maybe you're paid to actually find working numbers.
Maybe.
And then you give that info to someone else. These are actual working
I don't know
numbers.
about that.
I think it's
don't know.
worse.
Yeah, I think it's worse than that. Now, the other warning, I'm just going to do this very quickly because I'm telling you, it's happening more and more often. I just got another email from my dad this morning, and it said, here are some photographs. It wasn't from him.
No,
he was
of course
hacked,
not.
right? And then, so there's a lot of hacks going on out there. Be very careful about that. I think 3 or 4 of these emails came in today. One was inquiry for website. You know how they spelled inquiry? E-N-Q. I can't even make this up. And then there was one, I took screen capture of this. Verify your email for $50 reward distribution. Here, blah, blah, blah. And it's some weird website, right? Anyone who would press on that, you'd have to be crazy. Don't do it. PayPal invoice, June 2nd, paid, service details, $349 online premium repair services. I don't have a PayPal account. I do not have a PayPal account. Here's another one. Geek Squad, okay? Dear Mark Talk, that's my email. We hope you've been enjoying our services. And they tell me that there was a subscription internet security plan that was confirmed for $234.99. No, there wasn't, because this is a fake email, and I don't have that account anymore, and I wasn't charged because I monitor my credit cards. But I cannot believe, and I told you, I've fallen for this a couple of times, where it looks real. And, if it is with a company, this is the other thing I think they try to do. If you do have a PayPal account, or if it seems like you did do something with the Geek Squad, they're trying to play the odds there and see who's going to respond. So anyway,
Agreed.
That is overwhelming. Be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, most of the slow-moving traffic is eastbound 70. There was an accident east of Warrenton and before Wright City, and it's caused a delay there in both directions. 70 westbound, a little slow at Jennings Station Road, at the Blanchette Bridge, and at Wentzville. 64, it's moderate volume Hampton out through McCausland at 270. And then in pockets, Winghaven out through 70. Now, southbound 270, moderate volume, and this is mainly from Ladue Road down through 21. And we've got a jam on 109 this afternoon. And it looks like it may be in both directions at Rockwood Forest Valley Drive. So some slow-moving traffic there. On the Illinois side, eastbound 64 jams at 255. And westbound 5570 slow approaching 111. And that goes on down to 203. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And she's back in a moment with I almost said Thursday. Getting a little ahead of myself here. A Wednesday edition of Sue's News.
Termites cause $5 billion in damage to homes and businesses in the U.S. every year. Call Point Pest Control now at 636-798-0023 and reclaim your space from unwanted pests. That's 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
Looking for a smarter, safer way to invest? For a limited time, lock in a great rate with Together Credit Union's 11-month CD special. From day one, your return on investment is guaranteed. No market swings, no surprises. Just a competitive, fixed rate that steadily grows your deposit. Make your money work harder with a financial partner that puts you first. Visit a Together Credit Union branch near you or go online to togethercu.org to learn more. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. I'm matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home, it's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
It is not hard to destroy a college. Last season, the podcast Campus Files brought you stories of fraternity drug rings, stolen body parts, campus cults, and more.
And now, Campus Files is back for another season.
There's a guy screaming into his phone. He's like, I just saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated right in front of me.
Every week is a new episode and a new story.
It was so chaotic. It's almost like a university on a siege.
Listen to and follow Campus Files, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
All right, let's get right to Sue's News here on a Wednesday afternoon. If I can press the right button.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show.
I can't.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, how did I do that? I think the reason was I did not have my glasses on.
It's good to
These
have
allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Happy National Ginger Snap Day. I like a ginger snap. Now,
Boy, it's been so long. I don't know if I do or not.
Really? Remember those ones that
I
bring in? I like them to be soft, so it's ginger mush, but not snap. But I love
like them
the
both.
soft
Yeah,
ginger
what you
cookie.
brought was really good.
Yeah, thank you. Those are good. You remember those, Fred?
I cannot remember it.
Oh, yeah, we fed a lot
There's
to
rarely
you.
a food I
Well,
forget.
Fred, there's been so many times like at Sue's new house that you and Sue have gotten together.
Yeah,
it's
that's
easy
true.
to forget
That's true.
for
different
heaven's
items
sakes.
and stuff. I understand that.
You
As
guys,
someone who's never been invited. I get it.
Here's an idea. I thought that I would have us all, including Jane and producer emeritus, all over us. David Klein, all over us. Huh? What? Over for dinner in the month of July. Okay. Happy National Ginger Snap Day. National Postal Worker Day. What? I have a great one at my new house of new mail delivers. She's awesome. But boy, in the city, it was rough goings. How's yours, Fred?
It changes a lot.
How about yours, Mark?
We have a couple, but they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem.
They get annoyed when, people, and they should get annoyed when people park too close to the mailboxes and then they kind of skip you, which I get it.
Well,
that's the issue that we have in our neighborhood. You got a lot of kids who have cars, so they can't all fit in the garages and everything, and they park, and they really shouldn't park in front of the mailboxes, but they do.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's also National Creative Ice Cream Flavors Day. Now, I remember Haagen-Dazs was doing a contest one time about, if you can name or come up with a new flavor, and I turned 3 in, and I did not win. But one of them was banana split. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? You'd have banana in there and a streak of pineapple, a little bit of cherry, and some hot fudge.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, so actually a banana split ice cream.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you think that's a good... They missed out.
Yeah,
That's all
they
I'm
did.
saying. On this day in history, 63 years ago in 1963, the U.S. Post Office began using 5-digit zip codes. Before, it was 2 digits. So it'd be like St. Louis 11. Or,
Wow.
yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
I didn't either. Minneapolis 18. And now they realized that the country was growing enough that we had to have 3. But that was only since 1963.
Wow.
I know.
That does seem weird. Right. So did they automatically go to 5 then?
Yeah, they went to 5.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Now, on this day in history, 47 years ago, this has some sound. Okay, it was 1979, and the first Sony Walkman went on sale.
Walkman, you really feel the music with the Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player with truly incredible sound.
You really feel the music, you really feel it, you really feel the music.
Put on a Walkman and see the world in a whole new light.
Hear the world in a whole new light.
It's Sony, the one and only.
What year was that?
Okay, now, it was 1979, but the oldest commercial I could find was that one, and that was from 1981. And it's a guy walking down the street, and everything is black and white. And then he looks over across the street, and they've all got Sony Walkman on, and the whole street is color and dancing, and people are happy.
I don't know, like, when was it that it became such that, like, kind of everyone had one? You know, that had to take still a few years, right?
I think by the time, mid-'80s?
Yeah, because I don't really remember having one early 80s.
No.
Is it just me, or for the Sony Walkman, was the headphone that you listened to, did it was metal?
Yeah,
across
it was
the top?
totally metal.
It was a metal piece.
I
across
would
the top?
take that headphone over these stupid AirPods that Apple. I'd take that any day of the week. I would.
I don't mind, although you're right, it's not as comfortable. And on this day in history, 42 years ago in 1984, was when the PG-13 rating was created. So that is now 42 years old. Can you name the first PG-13 movie?
Cannot.
No.
Red Dawn.
Oh.
Red Dawn.
Thank God that was PG-13, or we would have been, some of us would have been robbed of our childhood memories of Red Dawn. Although I was right around that time, I was 18, so.
I loved that movie.
Of course you do. You're an American. And it was C. Thomas Howell. Come on.
I never
We were
saw
kicking the Russians'
Oh
butts.
my
You've
gosh.
never seen
No,
Red Dawn?
I have not seen it.
It's one of those, like,
you
if
guys
it's
are killing
on,
me.
I'll, like, still watch it, right? It's so bad, but it's so good.
Maybe
That's
it's a
the
guy
thing.
movie.
It is, probably.
Yeah, probably. We're halfway through 2026. I don't mean to alarm anybody.
I was dumb enough. I went to the dentist this morning, and I said, what's the date? I'm like, it's 7/1. Here we are.
Well, we have some things to look forward to. Of course, in July, we do this at the beginning of every month. Of course, we have the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday. How do you say it, Mark Reardon?
Semi-quincentennial.
That's right.
I can't believe I did that. I cannot believe I just got that out.
Gosh,
Been practicing a little.
in sports, the World Cup runs through the 19th. The U.S. takes on Bosnia and Herzegovina tonight.
By the way, they better
I know.
They better
I
win that
know.
one
Boy,
right before the 4th, right?
Don't you want to drive through South City?
Oh,
right
yeah,
now?
it's gonna be crazy.
I bet
So
the watch
many
parties are going to be
Bosnian-
crazy, yeah.
I
By
have
the way,
people
Bill
there,
McDermott, about an
fans.
hour with a little preview of that.
Oh, that's cool. The Tour de France starts this weekend.
Yes.
The MLB All-Star Game is July 14th. Golf's Open Championship starts on the 16th. In theaters, Minions and Monsters is out today. The live-action Moana will be released on the 10th. The Odyssey with Matt Damon and Zendaya hits theaters on the 17th.
That looks really good.
Does it? I can't tell. Can you tell? Is it going to be good?
It's Chris Nolan, and he puts out great quality work, and I do want to see that one in the theater. But, I mean, I've read the book 3 or 4 times probably.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
What
No,
is happening?
I haven't read that book.
Okay, that freaked me out for a minute. I don't know why I bought it.
You know me.
I need some time off.
No.
And Spider-Man, Brand New Day, comes out on the 31st. By the way, Netflix new adaptation of Little House on the Prairie is going to be released on the 9th.
That's interesting.
I'm risk averse to that because I have horrifying memories of watching that when I was a kid. Like, there were 2 kinds of kids, I think, in the 70s. You were either a Walton's family or Little House on the Prairie. And I didn't like
That's
the Waltons. I was
interesting.
Little House on the Prairie.
Same.
Oh,
Same.
I was Walton's all
See?
the way.
There's
And
2 different types of people, friends. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, you're right. And
People
I
who
read,
wear socks with sandals, people who don't. 2
Yeah.
different kinds of people. See?
Yeah. I read the entire series, but it's me. So I actually did. Thank you. Little House on the Prairie. And finally, the holidays, the big one of 4th of July, National Bikini Day this Sunday, National Fried Chicken Day on the 6th. All right, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are reportedly building a giant castle inside Madison Square Garden for their wedding. There's video of 2 large white staircase banisters being loaded into the arena. There are also trucks labeled Garden Party, whatever that means. Supposed guests include Zoe Kravitz, Ed Sheeran, Selena Gomez, etc.
How'd you like to think about this? First of all, maybe we're wrong, Sue. Maybe the wedding is going to
Maybe
take
it
place.
is.
Sue and
Maybe
I have
it
had a
is.
theory that it's a head fake. But if you got 20,000 people coming to your wedding, how'd you like to be the person that doesn't get the invite?
Right?
Like, that was 20,001. Oh, couldn't quite make the cut there, right?
Yeah, that would really be awful. Well,
I
we'll
mean,
see.
you'd figure that the Chiefs are going to be there and Andy Reid.
Right,
and,
that's
you
a lot
know,
of people. Andy Reid at the wedding. I love Andy
Right.
Reid. Oh, that'll be
His
fun.
best man has to be Jason, don't you think?
I would think.
They're pretty
Well,
tough.
wait, what about his brother?
That's his brother.
There was another person who I thought that it might be. It's escaping me, and I'm running out of time. Finally, in Sue's News, we have today's
You are
random
running out of
fact.
time.
Americans pronounce Adidas wrong. It's supposed to be Adidas, with a slight emphasis on the first syllable, not Adidas, stressing the second. Adidas.
Yeah, that's never going to change. And I think that's a dumb way to pronounce that word, so there you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue, for a Sue's News.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Lamborghini has revealed a new hybrid performance model of its Urus SUV. The auto manufacturer calling the vehicle the fastest super SUV in the world. The vehicle is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which means it has a gas-powered engine as well as a plug to charge a battery pack for improved electric performance. The first day of the third quarter, not the best on Wall Street. The Dow was down 14 points, ending the day at 52,305. NASDAQ fell 172 points. S&P 500 was off by 16. West Texas crude down 1.3% at $68 a barrel. If the roads or airports are busy this weekend, don't act surprised. AAA says it expects 72.2 million people to be traveling over the July 4th weekend. That would surpass the 71.8 million just 1 year ago. Travel by car or air is expected to hold steady from last year, but people traveling in other ways, like a cruise, could increase. That's Your Money Now.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores.
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
The board recommends approving.
Regarding that seat on the committee, we're
To
promoting.
boost quarterly earnings.
Every day, shareholders meet to discuss important matters about the companies you invest in. Now you can easily make your voice heard. Vanguard Investor Choice gives you a say in the companies you invest in. With just a few taps, you can set your proxy voting preference for your index funds. Visit Vanguard.com/investor choice to learn more. Vanguard investors own shares of our index funds, which own shares of the companies they invest in. Available for Vanguard index funds that participate in Investor Choice. Vanguard Marketing Corporation Distributor.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now is the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Every child deserves the chance to learn, grow, and dream. But for many students, barriers like hunger, lack of resources, and limited opportunities can stand in the way. The Little Bit Foundation helps to break down barriers to learning for under-resourced students through programs and partnerships that support the whole child. From basic needs and health services to educational enrichment and career exploration, it helps students thrive in school and beyond. Visit thelittlebitfoundation.org to find out how you can support their mission. This message brought to you by Together Credit Union.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
4:32. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Happy birthday, America, in 2026. Get used to hearing the word semi-quincentennial. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
You know, Sue, you mentioned the Moana remake, which is coming out. I really love that movie. And it's interesting, you know, Becky and I saw that before Alexa was born, and we came out of the screening that night, and we were kind of underwhelmed. And then when Alexa was kind of old enough to watch some of the kids' movies, we just fell in love with Moana. It's like literally one of my favorite Disney movies.
Aww.
But I have a good story about The Rock that you're going to have to make me get in at some point this afternoon because it made me laugh. I put something on the X, formerly Twitter, earlier. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cardinals right now. Michael Langston is with us in the studio. He's the production coordinator for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's got some roots here in this building, working over at KMOX and with the Cardinals broadcast team as well. The Cardinals have just released their 2026 St. Louis Cardinals yearbook and the latest Cardinals magazine. The yearbook is always something special and a must-have for fans. Michael Langston, welcome to 97.1 FM Talk. How are you?
Well, Mark, it's almost like a homecoming for me, too, because I don't know if you guys remember, I used to work here on this show.
I do.
You produced my show several times, right?
Yeah, that was fun back in the day.
Wait, you had fun with me? No other producer has ever said that.
Ever said ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
that's historic because there's not a producer in history that's ever said that. Now, a couple weeks ago, I was at the game and I saw you. You were like a row in front of me, and I was going to talk to you, but you disappeared that night, so I didn't get a chance to say hey.
We were running around like crazy and all that. You know, the publication side, I think I was going down seeing an old professor at that time, but yeah, right now we're in the midst of a lot of craziness.
Yes.
And the team is interesting.
I think they're interesting too. No, we didn't. We've had a look. Fred and I talk about this all the time, and Ethan even on the show, because we're baseball fans and we're hanging in there. And I know things kind of tailed off starting at about this time last year. But look, there was a piece. I don't know if you saw this today. I think it was in The Athletic, maybe the Wall Street Journal. They did a story on Jordan Walker and how, we've followed Jordan Walker not having success, finally finding his groove. So we got some nice national attention in the Wall Street Journal this morning about Jordan Walker, which I thought was great.
Well, we love that. And I mean, for the Cardinals magazine, issue 3, which is just about still available in the ballpark. You can get it online too, cardinals.com/magazine, or you can call us 314-345-9000. Walker's on the cover of issue 3. Yeah, he was talking about some of his most memorable moments, matchups that he's had in the league. So I think with Jordan, what he talks about in that one specifically, he goes in depth about his first home run, and he hit it against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Back in 2023. I remember watching that game. That was a lot of fun. I think Ethan and I together were in the home radio booth for that. Ethan was, I believe it was his first week working for the
That's
Cardinals.
really nice.
That's
Talking to that mic, we can barely
get on that mic real tight. We got to bring
Okay.
you back to your broadcast roots here because it is a little hard to hear you. All right, so I've always talked about the yearbook. The yearbook is really something fun. If you're a Cardinals fan, you kind of have to have this. You have a couple of no-names on the cover. Albert Pujols.
I've never heard of these guys
Albert
before,
Pujols and
honestly.
Yadier Molina. I have no idea. It was funny because my daughter, Michael, did the national anthem with her school a couple of months ago.
Oh, really?
And Alexa's someone who's followed baseball. She probably has an understanding of baseball and football the best, right? And she knows the rules of baseball, and she played, some Little League or some T-ball and stuff like that. So she walks by the dugout after the national anthem, and Yachty's in the dugout, and she goes, because she's very brave, she goes, "Your brother signed a baseball for me." And I think pretty much every kid was talking to Yachty, so he was just there with that grin on his face. But I bring it up because nothing against Jordan Walker and this new crop, hopefully, who will become household names. But, these are the guys that I even grew up with and became Cardinals fans with. I mean, I go back to the early 80s, but my daughter knows Albert Pujols. She knows Yadier Molina, right? These are legends.
Oh, of course. And I think I grew up with Albert and Yachty. I grew up with guys like David Eckstein, too. That 2006 team, I'm getting ready to talk to Jeff Weaver, actually, on Monday for another issue of Cardinals magazine, so we'll get to do a one-on-one with him. But just thinking about those guys that come from that era, it's unbelievable. And in our magazine, specifically with issue 3, we got to sit down with JJ and Victor Scott. Now, we know Vic is back down in the minors. He's working on some stuff with his hitting. But with JJ especially, I don't know if you guys knew this, they both went to college with each other.
West Virginia, right?
Yeah, and so our centerfold that we have for that is both of them together at
that's
WVU.
cute.
We went out and they got a bunch of WVU stuff, Mountaineers.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think a guy like JJ, with the character that he has too, he gave his testimonial at Christian Day recently.
Oh,
unbelievable guy. I have not had a rookie like him in a while. I love Jordan. I love Mason. All of these guys have been absolutely terrific. But JJ, there's something special about JJ. So I think
he's a star in the making.
Yeah, I think in a couple years you might hear something about him in the same vein as those guys.
And it's interesting because you got to give credit. I think about this sometimes in terms of my own kids who are in their 20s, and I have my little one as well. But the amount of maturity that you have to have, and we know that some of these players make mistakes and they're immature, but You have to handle the media. You have to handle the pressure of the fans. I mean, there is so much going on for these young guys.
Yeah.
The pressure of all the money coming in. I mean, that's not trying to get a family going. So I always, you see people on the field that aren't performing at their best. Sometimes I think we forget that they're also humans and they have issues in their lives. And we've seen success stories, obviously, with Jordan really coming around. But talk a little bit more about the yearbook here and what that's all about, because you feature everyone really that's on the roster right now. There are great pictures in here from the World Series and some memories that go back. So what are we going to see in this year's yearbook?
Yeah, so you brought up the gallery. We have 2 pages dedicated specifically, and speaking of JJ, here he is right here, to each player. So you'll get exclusive pictures from our team photographers, Taka Yanagimoto, as well as Ben Munson, Billy, and a couple other of our awesome guys. And then with Yachty and Albert, Stan McNeil, who is a fan favorite on this show, I know, and for readers of Cardinals Magazine, he was able to sit down with these guys and go in depth on just about every big moment in their career, whether it's 2,000 games caught with Yachty, 700 with Albert, everything that those two were able to accomplish together, as well as that period of time. Remember, Albert was in Anaheim. Yachty was still here, though. So all of that is in the yearbook. You can only get it if you want a physical copy at Busch Stadium. It's only at Busch. If you want
That's
it,
good to
though,
know.
online for free, is cardinals.com/yearbook. That's 100% for free. You can view the whole thing digitally for free. But if you want the collector's edition, it's $20 only at Busch Stadium. That's the only place you can get the physical copy of it.
I like the physical copy. I mean, for something like this, I like the physical copy.
I get that.
When you talk to them about the memories, because you mentioned Anaheim, and I think, we're an educated fan base. We knew that it was going to happen, and we kind of accepted it at the time. And he comes back. And the magic of that return was just so special. Plus, I won some money on that because of the home runs he hit. So it was even more special for me. But that was just so awesome a few years ago.
It was, as someone who grew up watching Albert, to have him come back and to see that. The vivid memory of watching 695, his last at-bat against the Cubs, and he just destroys that baseball, hits it over the bullpen. The call from John Rudy on that, magical. The TV call on that was unbelievably remarkable. It makes you feel emotional going back and thinking about those awesome memories. So with both of them going in the Hall of Fame, that was kind of a no-brainer to be like, hey, we need to revisit these guys again and showcase all the love that they gave us as Cardinals fans for decades.
Did you cover this at all, or maybe you just have individual thoughts? Do you think they both want to manage?
I haven't covered anything with that at all. I know that both of them have such a wealth of baseball knowledge, and it was talked about at the time with Albert in 22, his last season back. Everyone called him Tio, Uncle, because he was there. He was like the uncle who would take you and sit you down and talk to you about the game of baseball. Same with Yachty or Molina all those years. You think about all those catchers that came up through the system and they learned from Yachty.
Amazing
and just the
amount of
of
knowledge.
baseball IQ
absolutely.
that those guys just oozed out of them. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they wanted to go manage. It really wouldn't. Knowing how much the players loved them when they were players themselves in that clubhouse.
How do you get if you get the yearbook at the stadium? Does the magazine also just become available at the stadium, or do you send these out to people?
No,
I
we
can't
send
remember.
them out. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, if you want to, cardinals.com/magazine, you can sign up for our latest 3 issues. Yachty or Molina actually will be on the cover for issue 4. That one comes out Monday, and that'll start getting sent out to everybody. We're going to have a lot of really cool stories in that. They sent me into Tarps Off, Mark.
Oh, good.
They put me out
And?
there. Me. And the tarp came off.
It did.
Yeah, they called me a lighthouse the way I was reflecting light. I'm so pale out there. Ding.
That I might believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I hope you had sunscreen on.
I did not.
Oh,
we
dear.
went out there, and we're Cardinals Magazine. We have exclusive access that not anybody else does. So we really wanted to paint the picture of what is it actually like, dispel some of the rumors, and kind of tell you some cool news stories about it. So we were able to do that with the next issue.
I can't wait. That's awesome.
Yeah, Cardinals.com/magazine.
It's one of the more amazing stories. I was with Al Hrabosky last week.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about his Tarps Off moment. He even admitted, he asked permission before he did it because he didn't know if he was going to get in trouble. But, dude, if I looked like him, even at this age, I'd have gone Tarps Off. I will not go Tarps Off, just to make it clear. I'm not going to put anyone through that. But it's just
Oh,
a
thank you,
fun,
Mark.
organic thing. Yeah, it's a fun, organic thing. I talked to the kids at the time, who were the instigators to a certain extent from Stephen F. Austin. But in a season that's kind of been full of some surprises, that was really fun as a baseball fan to see that.
Oh, yeah, and to be able to actually go out there and experience it, like for 3 games, just see.
Oh, you did 3?
I did all 3
Okay.
of the Ranger series.
Yeah.
So to experience that and to see how, it is hot. How are we handling it out there? What kind of fun new things? They're singing the SpongeBob SquarePants song. I didn't know that at first. They just started doing it. Happy birthday to guys on their birthday with Ivan Herrera, a couple other guys. Just they love it. It's all spontaneous. It's not like City where everything's scripted with their chants.
Right.
Everything is 100% spontaneous.
Did you? I can't remember, Michael. Did you go to Mizzou?
I did.
So
Brad Drury.
It's kind of like it's a little bit of an offshoot of the Antlers to a certain extent,
yes.
right?
Oh my God, one of my good buddies, Patrick Myers. If you're watching, Patrick is one of the Antlers. And
do you know the Antlers, Sue?
I do not.
They are
explain
the
the
best.
Antlers. All
So
right.
basically, tarps off, but they keep their tarps on, and they're at Mizzou basketball games. And their job is to get under the skin
They're behind
of whoever we're playing.
behind the net.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are right there. I mean, they are hurling insult after insult. It's not just like, oh, you suck. It's smart stuff.
Oh,
And signs,
they're
and they
smart.
have lots of signs.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's with the antler?
Well, and what is with the antler? Why the hell did they call them the Antlers since we're the Tigers? That's a very good
Yeah,
question.
that is a
Michael,
good
do you
question.
even know the answer to that?
I think it. Don't try to make sense of it. Just don't.
I'll look that up,
Okay.
but that's
Yeah.
actually a really good question. But they've also done things. Now, look, there were like back in the day. I can say this. This is like before. So one time when Nolan Richardson, who was a legendary coach of the University of Arkansas, came, they landed at Columbia Regional Airport, and they get on the bus, and the Antlers actually are driving next to them and holding literally a hog's head on a stick to taunt the team. Now,
That sounds about right.
some of the stuff like that was more extreme back in the days. I think they have to keep them in check, for legal reasons and otherwise. There
Yeah.
are times when they'll get slapped down and they maybe go overboard, but it is a lot of fun. And it's like to get into the Antlers is like a process, isn't it?
Yeah, younger guys, if an older guy has to step out and go to the bathroom or something, the younger guys are forced to go up to the front and continue it on. It is awesome. It is so fun to watch. I love
cool. It is cool. All right, Cardinals yearbook. You can get it at Busch Stadium. Cardinals will have a really, really big series with the Brewers next week, won't they? 5-game series.
5-4, and then we got 3 with the Braves, and then All-Star break.
Can you believe that that's almost here?
It is so quick. I don't know how we're here already. It's awesome.
Sue and I don't either because
I'm
July
stunned.
1st.
By the way, I have the AI answer to
Yes.
the
What is it?
question.
Oh, yes. What does it say?
The Antlers got their name in 1976 after students copied an antler dance from a Saturday Night Live sketch starring Lily Tomlin. A local sports writer saw students mimicking the move and dubbed them the Antlers.
Love that.
I should have known. We should have known that.
We should have
Michael
known. I'm
Langston.
watching SNL.
I'm
I love
a little
SNL,
embarrassed by not knowing that. And I don't know the original bit because I was even watching it back then. Michael Langston, great to see you. It's almost another one of those situations where we can say, we knew him when. Because now he's
Yeah.
thriving
Weird
at the
reunion,
St.
isn't
Louis
it, Mark?
Cardinals. It's great. It's awesome. And it was great to see you. Thank you so much.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a little bit of volume out there on southbound 55, south of Highway M. But now I see a jam kind of in the Herculaneum area as well. This is all due to road work. And we've got road work on 70, but it looks pretty good out of downtown. A little slow at Jennings Station Road, Earth City. But out in the construction zone at Wentzville, just moderate volume. Now, there was an accident eastbound 70 east of Warrenton that's caused a major delay. And we've got 40 westbound slowing Kings Highway out through McCausland, a little bit at Clarkson, and again out at the 70 split. Southbound 270, slow pockets of moderate volume. This is approaching Olive down through Doherty Ferry. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. And this is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's get you into a more comfortable position when it comes to your retirement because, look, things are tricky out there, and you might be excited that the market's kind of been rocking and rolling, and that is true. But corrections are always lingering around the corner, and then how do you really capitalize on the gains that you've made and not lose them as you approach retirement years. Well, that's exactly what they're going to teach you at the Retirement Advisory Group. The key is safely linking to the market. That's going to lock in your gains. They do things different than the other brokerage houses. Mark Cox is really good at explaining these differences when we do our seminars, because Mark used to work in financial services. He had a brief career there in between television and radio. And, you know, what they do at the Retirement Advisory Group is different than a lot of the other places in town. Whether or not you appreciate that or you want to take part in that, that's up to you. But we want to just get you together with the team and see if they can help you guard your retirement years, because it's important. It's becoming harder to do with inflation. Even for just going into the office, they're going to give you a free copy of their latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. You can always wait for another group seminar. We probably won't have one until August or September, but there's no reason to not go into the office. Make an appointment at 993-9494 or online, retirementkey.com.
This is your reminder on 4th of July night to tune in to 97.1 FM Talk. It's 3 hours of commercial-free American and patriotic music set to your evening. This is Ryan Wiggins. I'll be your host. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health From Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill, or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
I mentioned, because you mentioned in Sue's News, Sue, that there is this is the way I guess Disney can make money. They can't come up with anything original. Moana was one of the, I think, better Disney movies, regular Disney, not Pixar, that they've done in the last 15 years. And I mentioned this earlier. It was funny because Becky and I saw that movie together, and we were a little underwhelmed at the time. But then we started watching it when it came out on DVD, and then Alexa came along, and it really became one of our favorite Disney movies. And the music is great, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is in it. Now, what gives me a little hope for the remake, which is the live-action remake, which is what they're doing. They did it with, Lilo and Stitch and something else as well. So that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and the music is really good. I don't know if you've ever listened to the soundtrack, but at one point I made a confession. I don't know if I was yet working here. I was on the other station, and I said, I just have to make a confession that I listened to the Moana soundtrack on my own by myself in my car without my daughter, and I enjoyed it, and it was really good. So anyway, the new one's coming out, and this is, clearly this is clickbait, but I clicked, but it's just so utterly ridiculous I have to highlight it. So this is from Variety. Variety and The Hollywood Reporter are the two big Hollywood trade publications. They've been around forever. They're the Bibles of entertainment, if you will, when it comes to news and information, when it comes to, any kind of business dealings in Hollywood, et cetera. They cover all that, right? Dwayne Johnson is facing backlash, Sue, for staying quiet on politics, with Star Trek icon George Takei telling him that silence is complicity, and Stand By Me actor Will Wheaton adding, so disappointing to find out he's such a coward. Let's think about that just for a moment. You have two people in George Takei, who's like 110 years old and nobody cares about him, and Will Wheaton, who is, maybe 50 now, and really nobody cares with him, that they put that in a story about Dwayne Johnson. If I'm Dwayne Johnson, I call the editor at the Variety today and I say, I'm never going to give you guys an interview the rest of my life. You're quoting two irrelevant people who have an issue with me just keeping my mouth shut about politics. I think they should praise him.
Yeah, no
right?
kidding.
Why not do a story where someone actually, see, this is where the bias comes into play. Variety can do that story in a very different approach. They could say, wow, isn't that kind of, smart of Dwayne Johnson to just keep his politics to himself because the country doesn't care. They want to see him in a movie. They're entertained by him. They like him. They don't want to be alienated by him. So he says in the article, they claim, well, I guess they report that Johnson told Fox News in 24 that he regretted endorsing Joe Biden for president in 2020 because it caused division amongst his fans. Adding at the time, my goal is to bring this country together. I believe in that. There will be no endorsement. At this level of influence, I keep my politics to myself. It's between me and the ballot box. I think that's smart, right? And he says, what I've learned through experience is that I need to keep, not want the main thing. And the main thing for me is the thing in the morning. I swing my legs out of bed. I run forward. It's creating, it's art, it's storytelling. I've learned that I'm going to keep my politics to myself. And by the way, he's someone who admitted, and I pointed this out last year, that he had really struggled with some anxiety and depression issues in his career many years ago as well. But I cannot believe that they do an entire story, and the best that they can come up with is George Takei and Will Wheaton saying, Will Wheaton calling Dwayne Johnson a coward. I'd like to see Dwayne Johnson and Will Wheaton in a room where Dwayne Johnson could swish him like a grape, probably between his pinky and his forefinger. Yeah. And that would be all it took. So again, it's clickbait. I get that they're trying to come up with holiday, fill, because what else can you do at this time of year? You got to make up news when it's not there. But good Lord, this is the kind of crap I'd love to see, and I can't wait to see if there is any coverage of the Supreme Court decision on the transport in Title IX. I'd love to know what the coverage in the Hollywood Reporter and in Variety is. A lot of these Hollywood types, they have trans kids, and they stand by them, and some of them have multiple trans kids, which is bizarro. If you don't think, if you don't think that is all a social contagion after what Jamie Reed revealed 3 years ago, after what we saw at the Tavistock Clinic in Scotland, after what we've seen across this country, after the Supreme Court has ruled, all these things, if you don't think that that's a mental illness, what's occurring in that particular, area of whatever you want to call it, science, then I don't know what you've been following lately. All right, we're going to stop. We'll take a break here at the top of the hour. We got Duane Patterson coming back. We're going to talk some politics. A lot of stuff still going on. The president is obviously not happy that the SAVE Act hasn't passed. He is kind of segueing into America 250 celebrations. He was at a dedication of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library today, which was interesting. We're going to do a little preview of the World Cup game. I'm excited, but we got to win this game against Bosnia-Herzegovina. I think here in St. Louis, that game has a little bit more focus because of our Bosnian community. It's the first of the knockout round games. This one is in San Francisco tonight. The game kickoff. The coverage starts here, they say 6 Eastern, which is 5 Central, but the kickoff isn't until right around 7 o'clock. So just so you know. And what does it last? About 2 hours or something like that. I highlighted some media malfeasance earlier today. We'll get back to that with Curtis Houck. I'm telling you, this NPR story with Nina Totenberg falsely reporting that Justice Alito was retiring is quite something, and even the explanation for that. And then Craig Melvin at NBC has a trigger warning this morning because they're talking about the Title IX case, and they're using these horrifying terms that children need to be warned about, biological male and biological female. They did I'm not making it up. Trigger warning for that. We'll get into it.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident eastbound 70 east of Warrenton, and it's caused a major delay behind it. And we really have just the usual volume on 64 westbound. That's Kings Highway out past McCausland. A little bit slow, too, approaching Clarkson through Boone's Crossing. And then again, Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 70 is better. Moderate volume at Jennings Station Road at 141 and a little bit at Cave Springs. Southbound 270, it's moderate volume from Olive in pockets down through Doherty Ferry. And on the Illinois side, there's an accident reported now eastbound 5570 at 203, and that's really caused a delay. Eastbound 64 slowing at 155 or 255. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. We'd like to congratulate them on their 50-year anniversary. You don't stay in business that long by not supplying quality products and outstanding service. The key is their experienced staff. Contact Barron Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years is just a start. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I don't know if anyone listening right now is going to be out at Innsbruck this weekend, but they do an amazing fireworks display out there for the 4th of July. That's just one of the benefits of Innsbruck. If you have a home out there, a vacation property, you're probably going to be out there. It's a great weekend for that. If you've never been to Innsbruck, well, it's time to check it out. You can do that in a couple of different ways. Go to innsbruck-resort.com. Click on the build tab, even if you don't think you're going to build a home. Look at the home types that they have available out there, including the tree houses, which are really cool. They introduced those about, I'd say 3 years ago, and they were so popular because they sit high above the ground, a bird's eye view of a beautiful valley. When they did the first 2 phases, they sold out right away, and they were so popular that they created the next step, which is the Sonnenhaus. And that's a little different. It's really helpful if you go on the website and you look at these houses, because when I say tree house, it doesn't look like a tree house. It looks like a beautiful house. Sonnenhaus is kind of like a tree house with the cozy interior elements of a cottage in one comfortable residence. And those are only a couple of the options that you have at Innsbruck. I do not own a property out there, but we choose to staycation there. We rent dog-friendly properties. There's lakes, there's ponds, there's hiking trails, there's golf. It's all about nature and family, 2 of the most important things and 2 of life's most constant things. Horseback riding, a pool for the kids. The list goes on and on and on. And it's so close to St. Louis. You don't have to worry about the traffic heading to the Lake of the Ozarks. Innsbruck-resort.com to get started today. Explore Innsbruck this summer.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
At a local speed dating event, homeowners weren't looking for love. They were looking for the one.
Honey, I got the best news.
What, you installed all the ceiling fans?
No, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Yeah, oh, you are, but this one is certified, background check, and everyone was fighting over him. Plus, he can install all the ceiling fans.
Okay, who is this guy?
A Jerry Kelly technician.
For heating, cooling, electrical, or plumbing, find the one for your home. Schedule today at
JerryKelly.com. Hey, Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Daisy. And your purple service dog vest really pops against your shiny fur.
First day on the job for both of us. We've got this, right?
You bet. Dogs Inc. trained us well.
Ready to make a difference for our humans?
Born ready.
Discover how extraordinary guide and service dogs change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
To curb China's influence. A former CIA director and critic of President Trump is suing the administration over a Justice Department investigation.
Former CIA Director John Brennan is suing the Trump administration, demanding records from an investigation into him are preserved. In the lawsuit, Brennan says the records are essential for him to defend himself in the event he is indicted. The suit suggests Brennan will argue a vindictive prosecution. It is unusual for courts to be asked to order records be preserved before a criminal case is charged. President Trump has called for investigations into Brennan, accusing the former CIA director of lying about the origins of the investigation into Russian election interference during the 2016 campaign.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. With nearly 2,300 dead in last week's Venezuelan earthquakes, doctors there say the danger is now facing survivors of untreated wounds and infectious diseases because of the destruction of clean water supplies. America is listening to Fox News.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace,
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions require.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The drum of summer continues to be clear, warm, and humid. Upper 80s once the sun goes down. 78 for the overnight low. Thursday, instant replay. Sunny, hot, and humid. 98 for the high. Thursday night, mostly clear and steamy. 78. Friday, sunny, hot, and humid. We'll watch for a pop afternoon or evening thunderstorm. Pop the keyword 95, and that's going to be the trend. Saturday, this is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
We will not have a Reardon Roundtable this week because Friday is off for the holiday. Ethan has put together a fabulous best of segment, so you can still listen in and tune in on the 3rd of July. Coming up here in just a few minutes in the next segment, Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer here in St. Louis. We're going to get a preview of the World Cup game. Last week we had Bill on, and then things got confusing because the audio got all messed up. So I think we figured that out, and we'll have Bill come on here. It is the first of the knockout round games for the U.S., and this is a fascinating dynamic here in St. Louis with the population from Bosnia being so incredibly high. So there's a lot of maybe split allegiances in some parts of the city of St. Louis tonight. Curtis Houck's going to be here at 5:32. We'll talk about some of the nonsense that happened in the media in the last couple of days. In fact, let me do that a little bit here with Duane Patterson from hotair.com, host of the Duane's World podcast. Duane, every time you think that the media has not embarrassed themselves more than they had the last time, they outdo themselves. And I think they did this on the women's sports Title IX Supreme Court decision with Craig Melvin offering a trigger warning and some of these other things that we've seen. It's just, you can't make it up, can you?
You really can't. And by the way, the soccer thing's going to be kind of fun too. All day long, there were Google searches by Americans that don't know a thing about Bosnia-Herzegovina. I mean, they really honestly don't. And so they're looking up to try to find out something to create trash talk about them. It's just, it's just that's what Americans do. Who are you? Okay. We got to find out why we don't like you. Okay, this is why we don't like you. Go Americans. And then when it's over with, okay, we didn't like soccer much anyway, and we go on to something else.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's probably true. And, we just are so much more familiar with Bosnia here because we've had such a refugee community. And it's a big, I think, 30 or 40,000 people live here who are Bosnians. So I think that's interesting and a fun dynamic for our city tonight. I'm getting into the World Cup as much as I can as kind of a non-soccer guy, but I've had fun with it. I've really thought some of the games were entertaining, and I hope the U.S. doesn't poop the bed tonight because that would be a big bummer coming up on the 250th anniversary.
Yeah.
At least win this game tonight, right?
Yeah, to me, if nothing else, and again, I played soccer when I was a kid. I reffed soccer when I was a teenager. So I know the game, but I never really followed it as a sport because it's basically hockey on Quaaludes, right? It's just slow and boring.
Well, do you know what my position is? It's ruined America because it took young men away from football and baseball.
Yeah, to a degree.
It's ruined America, Duane. Just face it. It has been a detriment to America. No, I get it. Look, my wife played NAIA, I'm sorry, not Division 3, but NAIA soccer, and it's in my my sister's side of the family. Everyone played soccer, so I get it. And I can get into it just as much as anyone else because I love good sporting, exciting sports events with a lot on the line. Those are entertaining to me.
We've got a good squad this year. We've got a good squad, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm all about that. And if for no other reason than if the Americans can actually pull this thing off, I have no hidden desire that they're really going to. But if they were able to pull that off,
that'd be amazing.
If they won the dumb thing,
yeah.
half the country is going to dive out the window because Donald Trump is going to be able to, to hand the cup to a winner,
Okay, along those lines, here's a news soundbite that Fred has just put in my folder from our friend AOC on what's killing patriotism. It's Trump.
A lot of people are kind of struggling with patriotism right now. What do you have to say to those folks?
I have to say that no one can take America away from us. America is not, whoever is in charge right now.
How do we get back to the American flag being like for everyone?
Unfortunately, a lot of the folks that engage in that are often talking about who isn't American.
Okay. Like says the person who hates this country and all of her followers, right? And that's what's sad about this is you have so many people, younger people out there that won't have this appreciation for this weekend.
To a degree, that's true. However, I think they're going to be looking around at millions more that are just kind of jazzed about things. Things are getting better all the way around. I mean, I can start with the economic argument, but then we're going to look into the political argument and how this is going to manifest itself. And we can even use St. Louis as an example because there is a kind of a swingy district, Missouri 2. I heard an Ann Wagner spot when I was listening to the show half an hour ago. So she should win that kind of comfortably, but you don't know what you don't know, and it's kind of a weird year.
Well, look, here's what I'll tell you, and I know Ann very well. She's not taking, nor does she ever take things for granted. So, yeah, she's out there, and she's trying to get those ads out there. In theory, all of the Republican districts are safe here in Missouri. What's interesting is, and this is the question I've been kind of posing, and I don't know what's going to happen because things are really quiet here, Duane. I know that you guys had a lot of attention, but even though our election is now basically less than 6 weeks away, there's not a lot of buzz about these issues. The expectation is after this weekend, more ad dollars come in, and there's some state referendums. We're trying to get rid or phase out our income tax, for example. But what I've said is, and I think you have to at least give her a little bit of a shot with what we've seen in these races, whether it's last night in Colorado or in New York. I wonder if our old friend Cori Bush isn't going to pull a surprise here against Wesley Bell.
She certainly seems to be acting like she's going to. The DSA seems to be pumping a lot of money into her, and she's definitely one of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America.
And in a small turnout, and there's not, I'm telling you, there's just not a lot of buzz right now. You just wonder if that might not be something that can happen. Now, I would root for that, and I'd root against it. I would root for it because she's the gift that keeps on giving. And by the way, and I think you know this because you follow politics, the rest of the squad, they don't like her because she's stupid. And you can say whatever you want about Jai Pell and AOC and the rest of them, but they're not, completely intellectually void of brain, and Cori Bush is. So they're not, people who are fans of hers anyway. But it's a vote on their crazy coalition, so they would certainly welcome her back with open arms. But, on the other hand, she's bad for St. Louis. She doesn't do anything for the region. She wants to defend the number one employer in her district in Boeing. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Here's the problem here's why it's applicable. You hear about all these socialists that are running and all these DSA candidates in all these other places. Right now, if the trend holds this November, you're going to have a socialist caucus within the House Democratic Conference that includes Chevalier, Quiros, Hawami, Lander, Rabb, Valdez, Scott Wiener out of California, AOC, Maxwell Frost, Jayapal, Omar, Presley, Taleb, Cori Bush possibly isn't out, working her way back in again. Donovan McKinney, Hartzell Gray out in Kansas City, and I understand in St. Louis, Kansas City doesn't really count, but he's still technically part of Missouri.
Sure.
Hartzell Gray is a DSA candidate, and Kyle Bloomquist. There's like 17 or 18. That's 10% of the conference of the House Democrats.
Dude, that is frightening.
That
is scary. It really is.
But here is the advantage. Here is the opportunity for Ann Wagner. She more than likely is going to face a guy named Fred Wellman, who, by all accounts, he served his country in service. There's a lot of good things to respect about the guy, and he's not necessarily a DSA endorsee. However, if you look at what he's all about, the two things that he's pushing for the most is he basically wants free health care and he wants free housing. Well, guess what? That kind of what you have to
Matches
do
up
to
with
be
the
able
DSA,
to bring
right.
that about.
Yeah.
Right. So now all of a sudden, Ann Wagner should be going at this guy and saying, okay, if this is what you want and this is who you're going to align yourself with, if you were to go to Congress and now all of a sudden it's taken over by this rump block of socialists that are going to throw Hakeem Jeffries out and they're going to do all this other hijinks, are you going to be part of it? When they start going anti-Semitic, are you going to stand up to it or are you going to go along with it? I mean, there's lots of opportunity to make this guy be real uncomfortable. And I don't think people in St. Louis, especially on the north side, are going to go for that.
Well, nobody knows who that guy is right now, so we may have more focus on that race. Look, the second Ann's district, and she knows that, it can be a little tighter sometimes that she would be comfortable with, but she's a fighter and she's going to be out there. But when it comes to, let me kind of take you into the Supreme Court decisions on birthright and Title IX, and we've had a couple others as well. But on birthright in particular, look, I think we knew just based on the arguments and listening to the other legal experts, whether it's Turley or other people out there, that the court was going to rule essentially the way they did. However, having said that, man, that dissent, I read the dissent from Alito. I read most of what Clarence Thomas had to say. I thought those were blistering dissents. I wish the court would have went the other way. I did not expect them to. And I don't know what the solution is because, what was inflicted on this country during the Biden years with the millions and millions of people that crossed the border with no accountability is just revolting to this day. And you still have people that don't want to even pay any attention to that. So that's an important issue, and I don't see this country ever coming to a point again where we can agree on a constitutional amendment to get 2/3 of the state to pass it.
Nor do I think a constitutional amendment is necessary in this case. It is very simple for the Trump administration through the State Department to just basically say, if you are pregnant, we are not allowing any visas to pregnant individuals. If you're pregnant, you do not qualify for a visa, and that ends the birth tourism industry. It's easy enough to actually mechanically do that. Would I have loved for the court to rule differently? Absolutely. But the fact that it didn't, that actually doesn't bother me as much because I can understand why the court is thinking, you people got yourself into this. Don't look for us to get you out of it. You can legislate your way out of this, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a constitutional amendment. I'll tell you, of all the decisions that came down this week, and there was, 7 or 8 of them over the last couple of days, the one that bothered me the most was the Missouri RNC case, where they decided on a 5-4 that Missouri can hold elections open after Election Day. That, to me, is the one that hurt. This one you can work around. The government can definitely change the visa rules and get themselves out from under that and continue to deport more people. They certainly can. They've got the court back in their deportation policy. But the one that allows elections to go past Election Day and accept ballots in California's case up to 37 days later, there's 16 blue states that all accept ballots after Election Day. And every single one of them, the appearance is possible for there to be some shenanigans to be able to affect the election. And I think the court missed on that one, and that's the one that hurt to me more than anything else.
On the women's sports issue that was so important, I can't even believe, well, I can, because we know the makeup of the court, that the 3 liberal justices who are women, who should be taking up for women, one of whom could not even define the word woman during her confirmation hearings. It's just outrageous that they're the ones that are taking up for boys competing against women. It really is. But that's
and I commend
where
you.
we are.
I commend you on your courage to not to walk out on the ledge here without offering the disclaimer to your audience, the trigger warning to your audience.
Well, let me play that because I played it a couple of times. This is Duane. Honest to God, that this happened. Here's Craig Melvin on the Today Show.
Just a quick note here: the terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female. The High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision and their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself: biological male, biological female.
Oh my God. I honestly don't know how to react to that.
Craig Melvin is acting as though the language used by the justices is the N-word, and they're being forced to report the N-word. It's just insane.
Insane doesn't begin to cover it. Duane, have a great America 250. We will talk soon enough. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Happy 4th.
All right, we'll see you.
And happy 4th.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
He got it in there. He got the high Sue in there. All right, there we go.
On the roads, okay, there was an accident northbound 170 before Airport Road. It's blocking the left lane. We have a jam behind it. 70 eastbound slowing right about 141 through 270. Westbound just a little slow at the Blanchette Bridge. It's not bad. And 64 is slow, but it's the usual. So approaching Hampton out through McCausland, a little bit of Boone's Crossing and west of Winghaven. Nothing to write home about. There was an accident, though, on the Illinois side. Eastbound 5570 at 203, and it's left us with a jam back across the Poplar. Eastbound 64 is slowing as well, but it's in the construction zone, headed for 157. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Point Pest Control is reminding you it's time to spray for mosquitoes. How can something that tiny interrupt your outside gatherings? Have Point Pest Control spray today so your next outside gathering is mosquito-free. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Hi, I'm Eric. And I'm Howard. We're the pain guys of Canner and Pintaluga. You already know after an accident to call 911 and then 411. 1-800-411-PAIN.
But you may not know behind the number is an experienced law firm with nearly 100 attorneys working hard for our clients.
Call the pain guys at 1-800-411-PAIN.
Law offices of Canner and Pintaluga, Kyle Conhauser, Esquire. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Offices throughout the U.S. Not all lawyers licensed in all jurisdictions.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
All right, big game. USA, Bosnia-Herzegovina tonight. However, there have been some games today, and one that is in, I think, extra time right now. Mr. Soccer in St. Louis, Bill McDermott, who has to just be on cloud nine with all this, with us this afternoon. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Doing fine, Mark. How are you?
Good. Tell me about the game that's going on right now, because they're going, man, a couple of these games, I cannot believe the other night they go into PKs. England wins today, but they weren't winning the whole game. Now you have, who is it? Is it Belgium and Senegal playing right now?
Belgium and Senegal, and Senegal, they made their mark a long time ago, Mark, to start off the 2002 World Cup. By that, I mean they played France in the very first game. France was the defending World Cup champions from 98 when they won in their home country. Senegal, promptly enough, in the first game of 2002, they knock off the World Cup champions. So they've been making a lot of noise ever since. They were in the AFCON championship against Morocco this past year, so they do indeed have a feel for the world's game. However, with all that being said, Belgium, from out of nowhere, probably because they made a change late in the game, bringing on one of their veterans, Romelu Lukaku. He gets a first. They get a second moments later. Now they're in extra time. So, and two of the giants you just referenced, Germany and Holland, they go out yesterday. So it's just totally topsy-turvy in this side of the bracket, Mark. And as we get farther in the Belgium-Senegal game, that's the team, either one of those teams, if the United States would happen to beat Bosnia-Herzegovina, they would play the winner of the Belgium-Senegal game, and that would be on the 6th of July up in Seattle.
Okay, that's good to know. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the game tonight and what we should expect. Look, these games have been so close, and you've seen some amazing plays where, goalies have made some crazy stuff. You've seen some people miss PKs that they probably shouldn't miss. So, look, you got to play the game, and the pressure on the U.S. has got to be really kind of enormous being on the home turf here with the expectations. But what are we looking at competition-wise in the matchups tonight?
Well, don't ever lose sight of the fact that Bosnia, a World Cup team that's only been in 2 World Cups, first of which was 2014, and they got there via a St. Louis and Vedada Bisevic, I should say. He was born in Bosnia, but he played his college soccer at St. Louis University. He gets the goal, Mark, that gets Bosnia into their first World Cup, and then he gets the first goal for Bosnia at their first World Cup. They have a lot of younger players mixed with some veterans, all of whom play literally around Europe. But they are the type of team and is following up with the overall mode of what's been happening with a lot of these teams. When they put their national team shirts on, they turn into different people because they realize that they can play with some of these top teams. In particular, the game earlier today, DR, the Republic of Congo, holding England till late in the game. And again, once again, England's salvaged by their king, Harry Kane. This guy, Harry Kane, Mark, he fits the definition of what Sir Bobby Charlton, referred to as a great player, one who at any time during the course of any game can alter its outcome. That's exactly what he did. But with the United States playing Bosnia today, I know they will not take them lightly by any means, and they will go back to the first 11 that played so proficiently in the game against Paraguay to open the World Cup.
So we didn't talk after the game last week, and the U.S. loses that. But, I mean, obviously it was a situation where I don't want to say it was the complete B team, but there were substitutions made, and there wasn't great concern that was a loss. You want that win. I think you and I even spoke at the time to kind of give you momentum. In the whole scheme of things, doesn't really mean anything, especially if you keep winning, right?
Precisely. You would have liked to have seen the team get 9 points, playing on home soil, being the host of the World Cup, continuing to play attractive soccer. But Turkey, they were aggravated. They were mad. They had a dismal World Cup coming into the World Cup. They had played some very tough qualifiers. And Turkey is growing as a world power. And the United States was done in by one player, Arda Güler, their young player, their young captain who plays for Real Madrid. And that's exactly what happened. And then literally, Mark, on the last kick of the game, they get the winning goal. And you would have liked to have that momentum going into the round of 32 on a winning cycle. But nonetheless, this team that's going to be playing tonight, they're the ones who really played superbly. Again, I referenced the game against Paraguay because they looked like a soccer team. They were sharp, direct, tremendously organized. They were running at defenders from the very opening center off. And then when they beat Australia, that spoke even louder. So I have confidence in the United States team tonight for one reason. They're not going to take Bosnia-Herzegovina for granted by any means.
How good, this is just me eyeballing things, not knowing much about anything, but when I've seen games, when I see France and Argentina and Brazil in particular, they certainly look like the top tier to me.
They are a level above everybody, Mark. In particular, France. They just continue to bring in quality player after quality player. Right now, the measure of greatness in this particular World Cup, and we're seeing on a regular basis that all the great players are playing as advertised. Messi, of course, Kylian Mbappe, a younger player for France, Michael Olise, Eddie Dzeko hasn't done anything of real confidence, a real coincidence yet, but he may tonight against the United States. Harry Kane, obviously. But I think France, you brought up France first, Mark. I think they, right now, if they continue to play the way they're playing right now, I think they are the team to beat, irrespective of Argentina's pedigree and Lionel Messi.
So what is this going to be like here in St. Louis tonight with all these Bosnians that we're proud to have, as part of our community? But there's a little split loyalties there probably, right?
Oh, Mark, without question. We've talked about this before on the show. The largest contingent of Bosnian people in the world is in St. Louis, and that is other than the Bosnians living in Sarajevo. So that speaks volumes of what they're going to be cheering for. Now, a goodly number of them will tell you, yes, my birthplace was Bosnia, but my home was in St. Louis.
Right.
That is right now.
Right.
And a lot of them are torn. They say, why do we have to choose? But it's a team that is very fortunate to be playing in the World Cup in just their second World Cup. And that's a team, as the theme of this World Cup goes on, to really be worried about. Not a whole lot of experience in the World Cup. Now, when they played in 2014, one of the opposing coaches that played against them said, you know what, the truth be told, they were the best team in our group in 2014. They just didn't get lucky. But now they've been playing better as an overall solid unit. So as I mentioned again, they are by no means to be taken for granted.
All right, Bill, we'll have fun tonight. Is there another watch party at Energizer Park?
Not at Energizer Park,
Okay.
Mark, but tonight all of the action will be happening down at Ballpark Village.
Okay.
So it's a good place to go. Great, fabulous, largest screen I've ever seen. So
that's
looking good.
Great screen. All right, Bill, have fun with it. A little nervous. Let's see if we can get past this round and move forward, right?
Yes, sir. That's what you're looking for.
Take
Thanks,
care,
Mark.
Bill McDermott. Thank you.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Interesting commute tonight. If you are headed into Illinois, it's still a slow go. This is due to an earlier accident, eastbound 5570 near 203, 64 eastbound jams at 255. And then we've got an accident reported on 5570 at 162, so a delay there as well. But the Missouri side, well, there's an accident northbound 170 north of 70. It started in the left lane. They're trying to get that off to the shoulder. That's about it for problems. Westbound 70, otherwise in good shape. We've got 64 with moderate volume in Hampton, out through McCausland, Boone's Crossing, and again out at Prospect. Eastbound a little slow at 170, but that's it. 270's in good shape. 55, some moderate volume south of M. But that's it. Not too shabby. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Kind of get the feeling that everyone's kind of in vacation holiday mode. Tomorrow, probably even a little lighter would be my expectation.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
I like to go on the MasterCars Inc. website. It's mastercarsinc.com. They're in Granite City. Just kind of take a look at what vehicles are on the lot. They have Harleys that are really cool. They have a 2001 Harley-Davidson Softail Night Train, which looks awesome. They have a 2011 Dynaglide Super Custom Frankenstein Trike. Some of the Harley names are pretty cool. I lived in Milwaukee where they're based, and I was there for a couple of the anniversaries. So they can take care of you with motorcycles, not only Harleys, they have others as well. They're the Corvette Kings, and they have several Corvettes on the lot. They sometimes have some old classic cars and muscle cars, but the way that I've used them, and then maybe even a better example right now, my producer emeritus, Dave Klein, who's working hard behind the scenes coming up with items for tomorrow night's edition of The Price is Wrong with George Gray from The Price is Right. He needed a Chevy Suburban. He's got a big family. Those are expensive vehicles. He went to Alex and Gary, said, hey, I want one with 10,000 miles or 15,000 miles or 20,000 miles that's in great shape. They knock it out of the park. They get the car here to St. Louis. Dave is completely happy. He sent me a picture of that Suburban in his driveway. It looks fantastic. And the buying process is just like anywhere else. They can get you financed. They'll take great care of you. MasterCarsInc.com. MasterCars Inc. in Granite City. Tell them that I sent you along.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. The 19th century marked a period of rapid industrial advancements in the country. Communication, on the other hand, was still moving at a snail's pace. The telegraph was still a new and developing technology, leaving most Americans to rely on physical means to send a message, trains, ships, and the good old Pony Express. But in 1851, everything changed with the foundation of a small telegraph company in Rochester, New York, and that would later become known as Western Union. Western Union developed a vast telegraph network across states. Within a decade of its birth, Western Union completed the first transcontinental telegraph. But it didn't stop there. Western Union would also develop the stock ticker and even the first wire money transfer.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, did you just have your house painted? Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, no, it's actually Rhino Shield.
877-25rhino.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show at 5:34 is sponsored by our friends at Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
2026 is a big year for America, and we'll be here with you, celebrating every step of the way. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Some of us have had to go out there today and correct headlines. Riley Gaines has done a good job at this. You have Congresswoman Jayapal and somebody else who hates America going on the X, formerly Twitter, saying we're never going to stop fighting for trans women and girls. Riley said we're never going to stop fighting for men and boys. There, I fixed it for you, because that's seemingly what they want to do. I had to fix a couple as well today, because there was one that said, USA Today opinion, my trans daughter, Becky Pepper Jackson, wanted to play the sport she loves. That simple wish took her all the way to the Supreme Court. The corrected headline for USA Today from me is, my son wanted to play the sports that he loves. And by the way, he still can do that. Then there's the subtle bias that appears in these national stories like ABC News. You'll hear it here.
Devin, you had the exclusive interview with Becky Pepper Jackson, the transgender athlete at the center of the West Virginia case. She will no longer be able to participate on her track and field team.
Nope, that's not true. That's absolutely false. He can be on the track and field team, the boys team.
That's right, a 15-year-old, the only known openly transgender student and athlete in the state of West Virginia, bravely brought this case to the Supreme Court.
Bravely. But there's nowhere in that story did they point out the brave women like Riley Gaines and Paula Scanlon and Caitlin Wheeler and the rest of them that had to be in locker rooms with Will Thomas or other male athletes. There's no empathy for that side of the story, even though 98% of the country feels that way. but on the ABC coverage and everywhere else, they have to take it elsewhere. I'm taking too much time away from our guest, Curtis Houck, I know wants to pop off on this, managing editor of Newsbusters at the Media Research Center. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, once again, the media giving you guys ample amount of ammunition for your social media. Congratulations on that, Curtis.
Thank you. And also the Craig Melvin trigger warning. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, my God. I played it twice. Let's play it one more time because it's so ridiculous.
Just a quick note here. The terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female, the High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision and their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself, biological male, biological female.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad that they warned the audience before they had to be, sitting in their living rooms or their kitchens hearing those awful terms that would offend them and maybe cause FCC violations. So, thank God we got that out of the way from the Today Show, right?
I mean, that would have been the same thing as Janet Jackson whipping it out during the Super Bowl.
Honestly, there are things you and I, you highlight this, I highlight this. That one is a Hall of Famer, isn't it? Because it literally sounds like an SNL bit when SNL was funny.
Yeah, the Babylon Bee was like, gosh, I was going to think of that,
Yeah, they can't do better than that, can they?
But no. And Craig Melvin's one of those guys who talks about going to church all the time. He talks about his love of Jesus and God and all in the good book and how much he loves reading the Bible. Well, there's Genesis 1, there's Genesis 5, there's Matthew 19, there's many others that kind of talk about gender that Brother Craig might want to actually consult here. And whether he was put up to it or he chose to say that, I mean, it's just so embarrassing either way to go down this road. And I do love the fact that their mood changed a few minutes later, Mark, when the birthright citizenship case came. All of a sudden it was everything's great.
Yeah,
because
the president lost that one.
And we don't have to talk about this as much anymore.
Okay, but then in the aftermath of this, and I've undercovered this a little bit, so I want to get into it with you because it's a media story. Nita Totenberg, who's been at NPR for decades upon decades and screwed up, by the way, many stories, fell into the trap of the Hunter Biden laptop story, all this Russian collusion stuff. So yesterday she hears something when they're handing out the decisions from Alito's courtroom, who's the big dissenter in the birthright citizenship, and she goes to her bosses and they let her report that he's retiring.
I scared everybody half to death for about 5 minutes, and it's entirely on me. It's not anybody else's fault. And I've written to Justice Alito to apologize.
All right, so Curtis, bear with me here because here she reads her apology letter.
Dear Justice Alito, there are no words to adequately apologize for today's error in reporting your retirement. It was entirely my fault. I rushed out of the courtroom after the opinion announcements, and when I realized that the usual rush of folks after a few minutes had not happened, I asked somebody what was going on inside, to which the answer was retirement announcements. I didn't hear the S on announcements and assumed, something no reporter should ever do, that you were retiring. It was the worst professional mistake of my more than 50 years in journalism. I could go on, but I don't know what else to say except that I am so sorry, and I am eternally. This was a rookie mistake.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't know how you make a rookie mistake when you've been in this business for 50 years. I do give her credit for taking accountability and not only writing the letter, but going public with it, because I think a lot of people might not have done that. But that was an egregious error. And then the other question becomes, how does NPR not vet that? How do they not say, okay, because I guess they trust her so much that they're going to let her roll with that. But that was a major faux pas.
I mean, it's one of those things where even Brian Steltermark is out there today saying, I don't really know about this one.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. I mean, Nina Totenberg, this is a woman who 4 years ago now came out with a book called Dinners with Ruth.
Oh, she was very close with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right. Yes.
Yeah. And like the NPR promoted it, that she was the exception, really not the rule, I guess. And their public editor, who's still there, Kelly McBride, wrote a piece basically saying it was a positive, spinning this as a positive. And I just think that's absolutely insane. to kind of suggest that, we can cultivate these kinds of tight friendships with our sources and then also supposed to cover them objectively. I mean, Nina Totenberg is a liberal partisan of liberal partisans,
No doubt.
whether it's Anita Hill,
Kavanaugh,
Doug Ginsburg's, Kavanaugh. It's you can go on down the list. She is up there with like Andrea Mitchell, maybe, and a few others in terms of DC media elite. She kind of has that same air about herself that the people at 60 Minutes do. That we've talked about the last few times
you're right
been
about
on
that.
there. It's kind of the same sort of arrogance, holier than thou attitude.
So let's go back to Stelter, who I can't stand. But to your point, he's raising some interesting issues here because she hurries out of the courtroom. She assumes that it's about Alito. Let's say she hears retirements. She doesn't hear the yes. Why would you assume it's Alito first and foremost? She has a this is what Stelter says, all right? She has a completely pre-written story ready to go about Alito's retirement. So she calls executive editor Krishnanav Kalamur with the apparent news. He goes ahead, publishes it immediately. The news goes out as NPR's special report, and the newsroom's scrambling at that point, and then they kind of shoot it down very quickly. But even the way that they're telling the story, what Stelter is saying, doesn't really make sense. So, I mean, did she jump the gun because there is something that she's been told? The other thing is, are we finding out that she may know the source for some of the leaks that have come out as well? Or maybe she's one of the people that's been complicit in that? So there's a lot of things that kind of surround this that are interesting as well.
Right. No, I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, my friend Mary Margaret Olohan at the Daily Wire thinks, she may know something, and that's why she has it written. You and I also know, Mark, pulling the curtain back for listeners here, that this is something that does happen in that journalists do have pre-written stories. That's how obituaries end up going live so quickly.
Right, exactly.
So it's not entirely surprising that, especially for justices that have been on the court the longest, that she would have something in the can. However, the fact that you hit go and publish made something so easily able to hit go is a little concerning there, and that's why there's some questions there. What layers of editing did this go through? That, you would think even Nina Totenberg, someone should have her, at least spell check her stories. But it just seems like there's not really that kind of level of accountability. If she has something to report, and just the way she heard it, I heard retirement instead of retirements. And I'm just still stuck on that phrasing there and just how that even went. And it just further goes to show, again, about what NPR went through and the luxury that those stations enjoy that other stations do not.
By the way, one other network talent story today, Paula Reed, who I believe was at CBS for a while. She's the chief legal affairs correspondent for CNN. She's ditching out. She's going to MS Now, which probably is a better fit for her liberal politics as well. But she decided against a new, what she referred to as a generous renewal deal, expressing discomfort with the takeover and the uncertainty it has cast over CNN's future. She's talking about Paramount Skydance, which, by the way, I mean, that's going to be interesting because you can't convince me that they're not going to try to do something else with CNN because it's a failing property.
Right. Well, and also because of just the hours of the day that CNN has to take up. I mean, CBS News, yes, you have the daily 24/7 streaming platform, but really you have the 2-hour morning show, which is really only an hour and change with all the commercials, a 30-minute newscast, it's really 20 minutes, Face the Nation, 60 Minutes, and also CBS Sunday Morning, which is a lot of fluff news magazine, the birds in Montana type kind of stories.
That's it. And by the way, that's the only show I really like is CBS Sunday Mornings.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, it is fun. But, there's a finite set of hours in that.
Yes, I understand the point.
It's very kind of formulaic, whereas with CNN, you've got all this time to fill, and you have this huge amount of talent, which is why I'm so excited that, that, yes, there should be changes made. People like Scott Jennings and Van Jones, there's possible smoke there that kind of Lachlan Cartwright, one of the other media reporters, was kind of kicking around. Who knows what will happen with Abby Phillip. She'll be on maternity leave, I think, soon, who's from Thunderdome, so who knows about that. But the idea that Paula Reed is just discomforted she feels discomfort in the fact that a network might move 2 ticks to the center, i.e. kind of back in CNN's case to the Chris Licht days, which didn't last that long, but nonetheless was there, which is so untenable, just goes to show the density of the partisan bubbles in which these people live in. And she's someone who's supposed to be covering the Supreme Court.
I know, yeah.
But as I wrote at Newsbusters, she was definitely one of Kayleigh McEnany's frequent sparring partners, along with Jim Acosta back in the day. So she definitely is a creature of the swamp. And the fact that she's making this kind of public, crucible that she's
give me a break,
go through.
Falling on the sword because she's worried about Paramount's takeover of CNN, a network that barely has, ratings at all. At least MS Now, I think, has better ratings, don't they? I mean, they're nut jobs, but they
depending
get
on
good
what
numbers.
show she goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
depending on the show, especially primetime shows. I mean, she'll be all over the place. I did find it was funny in my write-up today that Variety's Brian Steinberg tried to say that MS Now has put a stronger emphasis on harder news and enterprise journalism under its president, Rebecca Cutler. That's just utterly laughable. Like, if you tune into MS Now and the kind of
I choose not to
slop that we see.
I allow you at Newsbusters and the Me Research Center to filter through that nonsense. Curtis, enjoy America's 250th birthday, and we'll have a conversation again probably next week. I appreciate it.
Yeah, who knows what we'll find then. Thanks, Mark. It's always happy 4th.
Probably a lot. Audio cut of the day coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have an accident on northbound 170 blocking the left lanes. It's just north of 70 before Airport Road. The left lanes are blocked, 2 left lanes and the right shoulder. So traffic is stacked up behind it. It's also slow to the north of there. There was an accident reported just south of 270, so that's caused a delay. Unusual to see that in that area. Westbound 70 looks fine. 64 is in great shape. We look good on southbound 270. There's a jam on the Illinois side, 64 eastbound at 157. And eastbound 5570 at 157 and 162. That due to an accident. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by Capital One.
Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts, and Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A. Member FDIC.
Dana Lash.
America is that shining city on the hill, such an unprecedented beacon of freedom for the world. People risk their lives to get here, and it's worth celebrating America.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve 636-538-5188. That's 538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, I'm kind of pumped up. I'm going to watch that game tonight and root for the USA and see where that takes us because I'm behind the team, even though soccer isn't quite my thing. Belgium, by the way, just beat Senegal in 2 overtime periods. And this is another thing that I'm confused about because I thought it was, in extra time. And when I say extra time, it wasn't the extra time. It was actually an overtime period. So they did go to extra time because they always have the injury times and everything that's added. But I thought it was sudden death in the OT, and it's not. Ethan's going to come in here and try to correct me on something. I can already tell just based on the way that he's looking. But when they go into the overtime, it is not sudden death, right? No. Okay, wait. Your mic's not on. Here we go. Let's try it again.
Extra time is called extra time, not overtime. And it is only happens when the two teams are tied. There is no sudden death. There's no goal and goal. So they are playing 2 15-minute legs of sudden death regardless, even if it ends.
But they're not sudden death.
Extra time.
Yeah.
They're playing 2 extra time legs regardless. If it's still tied after those 2 15-minute
then it's PKs.
periods, then it goes into the shootout.
Well, that's dumb. Okay.
Agreed.
It should be over when they go into the. And why do you call it extra time? When you call the extra time thing, then you add 6 minutes.
They call that stoppage time.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
So extra time is when it's
you think,
tied.
You know what? You know what I told
Ethan
this week? I noticed. Did you notice he's not wearing his ball cap and he's wearing glasses?
Yeah, what's happening?
I think he thinks he's smarter all of a sudden. He's coming in here. He's lecturing me. I don't know, man.
Now tell her the actual reason.
He can't see the scores in the corner.
I can't see the TV out there. It's too small.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
That was the actual reason.
I get it.
Well, thank you for the stoppage versus extra time explanation, right? And I don't like it. That's all I'm going to say.
These allegations.
That's the wrong. I think I played the cut of the day for Sue's News. Wrapping this up extremely professionally this afternoon.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, the audio cut of the day is no doubt Craig Melvin making an idiot out of himself on NBC, but I played that a few times, and we love Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, and he was on with Theo Vaughn on his podcast.
Oh, good.
And he was talking about the people that, have inspired him or the people that aren't kind of on his plane and whether intellectually they're up there with him or he's smarter. Just listen to his answer. You'll understand where he's going here.
Some of my colleagues are brilliant. They're just, a guy like Marco Rubio, for example, Ted Cruz, Gene Sheen, Peter Welch. I'm not going to name all my colleagues in the Senate. But
Pull up Pete, man. I never even seen
Peter Welch. He's from Vermont.
Pull him up.
These people are brilliant.
There he is.
But I have
I
have to work at it.
Peter looks he looks studious, though.
He's a smart guy. But he can probably spot me 50 IQ points. But he's not going to outwork me.
Amen.
I'll work harder than an ugly stripper, man. That's how I was raised. I've always been able to outwork people.
Yeah. Dang, dude, that's awesome.
I might get in trouble for saying that.
No problems here. My god cousin is a stripper, so he was.
God bless me.
That was an odd way to end that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's so Theo Vaughn.
Talk about strippers. My god cousin was a stripper. It's still one of my favorite professional stories, too. I swear to God. I'll tell it very shortly here. When I worked at this bar in Columbia, Missouri, it was called Toads. It was very popular for a couple of years, and I disc jockeyed there. But on Friday evenings, and this only happened a couple of times, at like 6 o'clock, we opened early for a male strip show.
Wow.
And I was the MC. I will never probably see anything like it in my life again. It was fascinating. The amount of screams, if anyone would have been able to see what I experienced, it was mind-boggling. A bunch of women, like 300 women and a couple of male strippers, was a fascinating experience.
I'm sure it was.
I was tarps on, just to be clear there.
Good.
Yeah.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, a couple of issues on 170. There was an accident just north of 70, and it had been blocking the left lane and the right shoulder. Well, they've just cleared it. So only the right shoulder is blocked and traffic is starting to thin out through there. So that's some good news. And that really is the worst of it. But on the Illinois side, eastbound 5570, that is a slow go. And it's just because of an accident past 157. And then there was one reported at 162. So those are the issues. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call them for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, and I want to welcome